It's going to be an exciting one. I know a lot of the players on both teams, and I think it'll be well fought for both people.
It's definitely gonna be a good one. That's for damn sure.
We are definitely excited because, looking at some of the finals in the past, you've had some blowouts, you've had some close ones. This one I hope is going to be close, but before we get into the action, we still have some time before the match is going to start. So we are actually going to, have a little fun here hanging out with us three, and I want to take it over to Liam. And when you look at these two rosters, right, they both have been battling for first all season. It's been, pretty easy. Not a whole lot of roadblocks for either team getting this far. When you look, I want to talk about some of these players coming in. And I want to really start focusing on the tanks. I want to look at Vanguard. I want to look at Andrew. What are your thoughts in this tank head-to-head? Who do you think has an advantage? When do you think they have an advantage? Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I know for sure that Vanguard is the higher salary player. Like people only have so much salary, and I know Andrew's the one of the lower salary players on Philly, and Vanguard's one of the higher salary players, and he always comes out strong. So I suspect that he will be able to run over Andrew pretty well, but it also depends on how he plays into the enemy DPS, obviously.
That is true. Now, we know Ramattra D.Va player tending to stick to those two. I think he occasionally has some other picks in his pocket. But if you're Vanguard, what are some tank picks that you want to pull out to really abuse that D.Va and Ramattra picks coming out from Andrew?
Well, yeah, actually, so with the new patch that just came out this week, D.Va got nerfed, as well as armor in general getting nerfed. So there's a couple tanks that have come out on top, but most notably being Sigma. He doesn't have any armor, so that nerf doesn't affect him. And his Grav, or his ult, Gravitic Flux, got like kind of a hidden buff. It's like really not mentioned a lot, but they claimed a bug fix where all damage resistances are now ignored. Which means that Nano and like Hog heal, including Ramattra block, that was already the case, and Maga E, you no longer apply resistance to Sigma ult, so it's a lot stronger now. On top of him just doing better AOE. So I know Vanguard's Sigma is very strong, so I suspect that they'll be coming out on that.
I would love to see some Vanguard Sigma. He talks a lot of smack about the tank gameplay, so having him come out and show us how it's done would be nice. But now, Stan, I kind of want to take it over to you. When you're looking at these two rosters, and like we said earlier, they haven't had a whole lot of resistance. This time, they're going to have to start making some map picks, right? It's loser's pick. We have a pool. Are there any maps that you think are going to come out with a guarantee, or you think somebody's going to pull an upset and, grab all of a sudden a Midtown up in this game? What are some map picks that you foresee coming out tonight?
All right. First one is Control. We already know it's Ruby. Everyone's going to pick Li Zhong. If it's not Li Zhong, I genuinely be surprised. If this was an Emerald game, it'd be probably Ilios because everyone likes the well and the funny boop. But it's Ruby. Everyone likes Li Zhong. It's a comfort pick, that's for sure. If if we were to say that Philly were to take the first map and we go to Escort right afterwards, Chicago is definitely taking Circuit because, like Liam said, Connor is definitely a Sigma player. That's his comfort pick. Circuit, big Sigma map. So, of course, he's going to pick that one. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be Li Zhong, Circuit, Kings, Esperanza, Cervasa. Those are just the favorites. Ruby, we all know, like, just from looking at like this past season, there's comfort picks around the map, and those are just the ones that constantly get picked. So, I mean, that's just what I'm calling right now. Those are the maps that I see being played tonight.
So then, you said a lot of them are comfort picks. Which did you say was push? Because it's
push.
Somebody's gonna have to play push.
I would say it's Esperanza, or Coliseo, because again, those are the two that have been in the game the longest. Not a lot of teams have the comfort pick when it comes to Runasapi. If one of the teams wants to throw the curveball, they could pick that one. But honestly, I genuinely would be surprised if somebody picked that one. I genuinely think the comfort pick is going to be between the two of Esperanza and Coliseo.
I definitely wouldn't mind seeing, one of the teams throwing a wrench in the system, pulling out that Runasapi. But out of all the maps in there, and we're gonna have to, if this is as close as we think it is, we're gonna have to cycle through some of these game modes as well. What map do you think is gonna be that wrench in the system? What do you think is the map that a team is gonna pull out that nobody was expecting?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'd be surprised at Ruby if somebody were to pick Midtown. Just because when we released the map pool, there were so many Ruby players that complained or just had the comment of like Midtown being like the actual worst map in the game. So I'd be genuinely surprised if either one of these teams picked Midtown.
I want to throw in here the dark horse map that I
Oh, yeah.
foresee here, Gibraltar. I think that if
Yeah,
Chicago's
that's a good
struggling
one.
and they need a map, they might be throwing out Gibraltar.
That's a good one. I'm a personal Gibraltar hater, so I know I would not personally pick that one, but I could definitely see that being the wrench.
Hands personal bias comes through.
Oh, 100%.
Honestly, I kind of can see Gibraltar. I can kind of see Midtown. Personally, Philly did ended up with the numbers 1 seed, so they are gonna pick the control map. I think that's where the wrench comes in. I think they pick Ilios. No team.
Ilios as well.
Right? It's just something where you want Philly to get off on the right foot. They're going to pick something where Chicago's just like, wait, what are we doing? Who said this was allowed? Who said this was okay? What's going on? So I'm gonna lock my dark horse random map in as Ilios. And I'm gonna hope we see the Hog come out. And speaking of Hog, I think he actually got a little bit of some changes in the recent balance patch where Liam, I'm gonna call you my balance patch expert right now. That is your new role in the entirety of UR. Talk to me about some big significant changes in this balance patch that dropped. I want to say Tuesday, maybe.
Yeah, so I already mentioned the Sigma buffs and the armor nerfs. So tank is a bit harder to play, but the real thing that makes tank even harder to play is the knockback, and they reverted that knockback changes. So tanks are just going to be displaced a lot more. That's the biggest thing that I think is going to be the issue here. Like Orisa is going to be strong just because of her ability to displace other tanks. Other than that, there's nothing too important that was changed. Juno was not nerfed to the dismay of a lot of players.
Fortunately.
So that means that her ult is still one of the strongest support ults, I would argue.
Well, too bad game. Juno can't be played in UR this season, Liam.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't think there's been that much that's upset the meta. I think D.Va is still playable to a certain extent. But yeah, a lot of Sigma. But
now with the balance patches, I'm so sorry. Keep keeping.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the other big one that people are noting is the Hanzo change. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some long range map and some Hanzo gets pulled out trying to be silly. I bet you Blue Jay will be strong on the Hanzo.
Yes, I want to see some Hanzo coming out. That is one of the things that I was just about to ask. Do we think Hanzo comes back now that he's got the one shot on some of these squishier characters? We know that Frost likes to play a little bit of hit scan, and Cassidy, Soj, and Widow can all take that one shot from Hanzo. They're all going to fall over. Do we think that Hanzo makes an appearance? And another character that I want to look at, Zen. Zen got a big buff coming out of the gates. Do we think we see either of these two characters come out?
What I'll say is I know that Philly's strongest player, I would argue, is Frost. So they're going to be trying to rely on his skills on the hit scan. So they're going to go on maps where the long-range hit scans will work. And if they're playing into Connor, then he'll want to play Sigma, which means if you're playing a Sigma comp, you want a Zen. So I would not be surprised if we saw a Zen on the Sigma comp.
But I would love to see the Zen. That'd be so good.
Insider information from Vanguard is telling me that Hanzo's not actually that much easier to play, but I don't suspect Frost will play it at all. But I can see Blue Jay pulling it out and trying to counter the Frost Widow.
If Frost were to play a sniper, he'd probably just play Widow.
Yeah,
let's just be honest. That's his comfort pick. He gets work done on the Widow.
He also gets a lot done on the Soj. Do we think the
That is
Sojourn
true.
comes out?
That is true.
That's how he won, part of Pitt Season 2 Grand Finals. He pulled it out and did a lot of work on it. Not, just saying.
So
But
has been nerfed since then. She's not as much worth playing.
Just a,
She
just
gets
a
less
tad
value.
nerf from then.
I mean, listen, what's a couple nerfs here and there?
No, they mean a lot.
I mean, she can't one shot from halfway across the map anymore. Smile.
Sad.
Are we
does that
really
actually
sad
make
about
sense?
that? I don't think we're really sad about that.
Well, I'm sad about it. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of sad about it. Because in this match, I think it'd be great if Frost just started cross map taking out some of the Chicago members. I think it'd be funny to watch.
Well,
But
he can do that on
Frost
Widow or
might get
Hanzo.
a chance to. That's true. He might get a chance to, but I think it's time to start looking at this match because we are minutes away from this match starting off. And boys, it's time for some predictions. We sat down, studied the matchups for probably a good 30 to 35 minutes. We are experts. We are 100% knowers. Dan, I want to hear from you first. Who's winning it? What's the scoreline?
Listen, compared to last season, Chicago went from bottom of the Ruby League to the top, so I have to be like the underdog supporter, honestly, genuinely. Plus with Vanguard on tank, I'm a big Vanguard supporter, so I think it's gonna be a close game regardless, because I think there's a lot of good players on Philly as well, and I've also been a Philly member as well. So it's just like I'm torn at this point, but I'm gonna say 4-3 Chicago, but that's just me.
I mean, I agree. I think it's going to be close. I think we are going to have a close match. We hear a 4-3. Liam, what are you thinking, my man?
I think that it will be evenly matched. However, I do think that momentum will be the downfall of the team that's getting defeated. I suspect it'll end up being 4-2 Philly. That's my predictions for this match.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of with Stan, right? I would like to see Chicago win. Loving Vanguard, loving JD. The players look good. Personally, also love a lot of the Philly members. We have been waiting for Foliage to get a dub and not get second place. But when you look at this matchup, I have to go with Chicago, and I'm going to go give it a 4-2. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to kind of come down to the map picks. And Liam, like you said, it's going to be all momentum based. I think that this is going to be an insane match where if you just slip up at the wrong time, it might cost you. But I think also we are getting ready to start soon. So, gentlemen, any kind of final thoughts or input as we are almost underway for this matchup?
Best of luck to both teams. They're both good teams, and I think it's going to be a fun match to watch.
Yeah, honestly, I have friends on both teams. I've enjoyed watching both teams play this entire season. So I mean, honestly, yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I hope. But yeah, I mean, good luck to both of you guys.
Here's hoping that these teams can go out there, give it their all. But that'll be it for us on the desk. Please stay tuned, as in a couple minutes, you guys will be joined by the awesome casting duo of Biscuit and Zach as they will take you through the Season 5 Ruby Grand Finals of the Philadelphia Plague and the Chicago Syndicate. That's all from us. We will see you in a couple of minutes.
from the same branch and leaves, wild and free, living here in harmony. Don't you see? This is where you want to be. When you leave, the world is never what it seems. If only we could travel back in time. Whoa, right where we belong. Maybe we'll never need a reason why. Whoa, dancing till the dawn. If only we could travel back in time. Whoa, right where we belong. Maybe we'll never need a reason why. Whoa, dancing till the dawn.
Overwatch. Welcome to the Ruby Grand Finals, Philadelphia Plague versus Chicago Syndicate. My name is Zach. I'm joined with Biscuit on the mic. Biscuit, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. So thank you, Desk. As the Desk mentioned, Philly is our #1 seed, and they have decided to go and choose Nepal. I know the Desk kind of mentioned the idea of, it's Ruby. We're going to Lijiang. It's just the way it's going to happen. That's what it's been all season. Philly deciding no. As the #1 seed, we are going to switch things up, and we're going over to what has kind of been this season Emerald's, preferred map.
Based off like their map picks and everything, it'll just be drastically different. I mean, I'm sure Philly is thinking this is one of their better maps. They want to go up early in the series to start.
Yeah, early map control is very important in the best of 7 series. As we're starting to get into the series, hero selections coming up on the screen. Philly highlighting what they've been doing. Andrew on the Ramatra, Frost and Foliage, running double hit scan variations with Dire and Laggy on the Lucio Baptiste respectively. But Chicago, on the other side of the map, as the Desk pointed out, Vanguard Sigma, a very strong Sigma player in his own right, but everyone else kind of around on Chicago. This is an interesting lineup to say the least.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. You have, it feels like for Chicago, they're being very poke heavy, versus, more Phillies ready to rush in and get those kills quick.
Yeah, as we start opening up onto Sanctum, both teams rushing out on the coast side, playing above the high ground. But brilliant. Maywall up early, manages to isolate Andrew and Foliage. Broken in the middle, lamp out from Laggy Puppy, helps keep the team alive, and everyone else is just poking, prodding, waiting for their time to go in. As both teams rotating around, point opens up, and no team making a push over to the point right now. Another Maywall off, Laggy's isolated off, but it's creeping. Blue Jay Vanguard strike first and are able to pick off Philly. Laggy the last one to fall, and this will be Chicago moving into the cap point.
I mean, yeah, just very good kills right there from Chicago, cleaning up Philly right there, and we already have an ult already.
Creep with the Moira coalescence. It historically comes up super fast. Philly seeing seeing what Chicago are doing, rotating around the other side of the room, going back towards coast side. TP in, does not get, no one goes through it, but Vanguard early Sig Flux manages to pick up Laggy. Laggy using the lamp to save himself. Brilliant lap damage, but Dire with the boot off of Vanguard. Andrew turns around, finds Brilliant, and finds Creep as well. Oh, and that's a quick fight win for Philly as they turn around and cap the point. 31% on the board for Chicago.
I mean, absolutely. We saw it in their last playoff series where they kept flipping the map on the enemy team, and even right there, they flipped it on them and got that team win really quick.
Yeah, and now that Philly are point control, they're going right up into the choke, not letting Chicago through for free. Foliage ripping the configuration turret, drops it down, manages to pick up Brilliant. Frost turns around, finds Vanguard, that's the takedown, and Philly just holding the go button, going in. Frost finds another one onto Blue Jay. Foliage with the wheels down, manages to mow down Dark Claw and creep back into the spawn mercifully before they can fall. Another fight win for Philly as they even up the series, even up the score on this side.
Yeah, but now you got Brilliant swapping, but Philly also has 4 ultimates ready to just Chicago's 3.
Yeah, if you're Chicago, trying to find an opening rip, just rip the coalescence, get something done. Maywall out, using the blizzard as well. Dire manages to use speed to get away, and unfortunately, Andrew's the first of all, but Dire and Frost turning around, finding 2 picks of their own, evening it up. It's 4v3 on the point. Creep does turn around, manage to pick off Frost, and Nano's out onto Vanguard, but that's about it. No, Chicago, sorry, trying to make a big push towards the point. Get on it, a little bit. Out, manages to hit Dire falls very briefly, but it is 75% counting for Philly. This is starting to look like we're getting close into one fight territory, and Philly just keeps holding the gas. Light up, ripping the window, doesn't manage to save Andrew in time, unfortunately. They're bio-nated. On the other side of Dark Claw, but Foliage turns around, finds 2. Another turret out, and Creep falls with the coalescence up. Unfortunate, you hate to see it. Chicago does manage to turn around and flip the point. They'll get about 40% on the board, but Philly are in one fight territory, and all Chicago has to work with is Vanguard's Gravitic Flux.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimates are rough, but you also have Beat for Philly. That's a really good ult save in the reserves.
Yeah.
Basically is a guaranteed 1 save over an ult.
Yeah, Tracer manages to come in touch, but unfortunately, no one else on the side of Chicago can make it through the door, and that'll be Sanctum going in favor of Philly, 140%.
It was a very good dominant first point for Philly. They did a really good job. Whenever they lost it, they were able to come back, recap it real quick, and keep it moving.
Yeah, again, Philly, as soon as they got control of the point, they were able to turn the tempo up, and this is what we've seen consistently out of Philly all season. Get the first cap, use the Lucio speed to your advantage, and push the aggression, push the tempo. Don't let other teams take fair fights, take advantageous fights. Force them into the uncomfortable position, and force them to come break through. As both doors are opening up, we have the same compositions coming out on the side, both teams. Only difference is Creep over onto the Baptiste instead of the Moira.
Yeah, I also think that the Lucio pick for Philly has been really helping out, you know, making it where Andrew could run around a lot more. He's a lot more free rather than that Sigma that is pretty slow.
Yeah, Bionade out, quick. Bionade out, manages to catch Dire, and Vanguard turns around, finds the final blow on him. That's Lucio down. 4v5, but Frost turns around, manages to pick off Creep. Laggy Puppy lamp out helps keep Andrew alive. That's that much longer. And Philly, first cap on the point.
Getting the first capture, and they are still getting this fight as Sigma's gonna fall, it looks like. No, he's still standing.
Yeah, no, Vanguard with the hands, managing to keep themselves alive. Brilliant turns around, manages to mow down Foliage in the wheels mow battle. Blue Jay turns around, finds Andrew. Frost does get the pick finally onto the Sigma, but Blue Jay turns around, picks off the Lucio, and this is just last staggers. Laggy staggering as much as they can, buying as much time as possible. Nade out, manages to use some exo boots, turns it around. And Philly, even as they are going down, they are taking with them. As they say that though, Philly back in control of the point. Maywall up from Blue Jay, manages to, stem the bleeding a little bit, but Nano and Flux out. Andrew first to fall through all of that, and this is Philly 46% on the board, Biscuit.
I mean, for Philly, not Philly, sorry, for Chicago, that was a little expensive. You got rid of Nano and Flux to win the point, and now you're down to just 2 ultimates versus, Philly sitting there with basically 4 ultimates ready to go. Pretty tough spot.
Yeah, Philly lost Dire almost immediately off the rip, and they just kept staying alive. Huge props to Wacky Puppy and Andrew for keeping their team alive and for staying alive just to stagger out the points. Foliage using the tank configuration in artillery mode to take out Vanguard, manages to mow down Blue Jay in the process afterwards, and it's Philly back in control of the point. Creep falls to Dire's Lucio, and Frost and Foliage turning around, finding the rest of the members of Chicago, and that's 41% for Chicago before Philly flips it back and gets control ticking again.
I mean, yeah, that ultimate war was pretty good for Philly there, and now, Chicago is just slowly coming back. I mean, they do have window, so that'll be interesting for this next fight.
Yeah, trying to brilliant opening up with the configuration artillery strike, but Andrew with the beat manages to use the Nemesis form, takes down 2, Foliage and Frost cleaning up the rest of the Chicago, and that's a team kill on the board for Philly.
And now they're going to Orisa. I mean, Orisa will definitely work. I think they really need a Lucio, though, honestly.
Yeah, just something to turn up the speed, something to turn up the aggression. Creep managed, popping the window, putting up high, trying to catch someone, but Foliage manages to send a grenade in through Laggy's window, picks off 2, Frost turns around, finds Creep, and it's just the Orisa left on point. Orisa and Tracer left to just stagger out a little bit longer, and that'll be Philly taking the pole 2-0.
I mean, so far, this first game has looked very, very impressive for Philly. I mean, this is what you want as Philly, but they also picked this map, so they're like, let's start off strong, and they definitely did.
Yeah, you could tell Philly came in with a plan of how to execute and immediately came into it. Constantly taking first fights, playing their aggression, and when they did lose members, when they did go down, making sure to eke out any sort of last bit of percentage that they could. Chicago had to fight tooth and nail for every single percentage that they got. But that's about it. As we go, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say that one thing that also helps Philly with these last fights was, like, for instance, when it was down to just Frosty on that point, he was able to get 1 or 2 kills and just keep them out as they waited for the rest of that Philly team to run back.
Yeah, as we have subs coming in, Creep is stepping out of the lineup, Ghostface stepping back into the lineup at support, and map choice. They're going to King's Row.
Ooh. We love King's Row in general. I'm pretty sure most of 10-mans, a lot of people pick King's Row. It is very fun map. There's a lot you can do with it. There's a lot of fun to be had. And do you think we'll get a Reinhardt?
Knowing the 2 players on the field, I don't think we're getting Reinhardts. However, I do think Andrew is going... I still think Philly and Andrew specifically are going to stick onto this Ramatra composition and really run it down on Chicago. They did not look comfortable. They did not look comfortable on Nepal when all of a sudden Philly is being aggressive, turning up the tempo, and saying, you are playing our game now. We're not playing your game. You're playing ours.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, so far, I mean, the Andrew pick as Ramatra has been working very well. I think it's also in part of the great Lucio that's also been for Philly rather than Chicago really hasn't had a Lucio. Now they finally do.
Yes, they finally have a Lucio player. Vanguard over to the Zarya pick. Interesting coming out. As the desk did mention, yes, in this we are playing on the live patch. It wouldn't be a true Overwatch esports playoff moment if we didn't have a famous playoff patch for one of the teams. But Zarya, one of the tanks that did not really get nerfed by the armor change. same with Sigma. She just does not have any armor, so that change doesn't really go through for her. But looking on the side of Philly, Foliage back onto the Bastion, Frost over to the Ash, trying to see some long range hit scan, really take a duel, pick someone off. As the doors open up, Chicago on the attack, rotating their way through. Early bubble out from Vanguard, trying to get some energy up. Manages to use both bubbles, get the energy up. Foliage wheels down and around, and Chicago rotating through the hotel. Blue Jay first find Frost, but really answer back for two, taking out the tank and the Lucio player. Dire answers on the back end for Blue Jay. No more Junkrat on the field, no more Jay Sillies. And Chicago, first 30 seconds, and that's a one-team fight down.
Very, very good right there. I mean, you basically traded Frost for 3 of Chicago. You'll do that trade every day of the week.
Yeah, doesn't matter if that's your goated hit scan player on the field finding all the shots. That's if everyone else on the side of Philly turns around and cleans up, everyone else turns around and cleans up. As I say that, though, I might have cast a curse, and Brilliant does manage to turn around, take off the Ash. That's another first pick. And Blue Jay, this time answering back, picking off the Lucio. Chicago angling into capture the center little. And yeah, it's about a minute off the clock. Sure, manage to turn around. Foliage does find Blue Jay, but unfortunately, that is Chicago first. Capping A, we're going into the streets of Kings Row.
Second point's always a lot of fun. There's so many little nooks and crannies you can hide into this second point.
Yeah, tight choke as we're going through, and Vanguard critically staying alive there was high energy towards the end of the fight, managing to keep their energy as well, and doesn't have to spend as many bubbles, as many resources to get back up to those higher energy levels for Zarya's gun to start doing more and more damage. As I say that though, Foliage wheels mode down. They managed to pick up the Zarya into the library. Sure, trade the Zarya, but Darkball turns around, sends it Bionade into Foliage, and Blue Jay rips the tire and gets laggy. Andrew, last to fall. Frost does turn around, pick up Ghostface, but there's no beat on the table, but that's a huge fight win for Chicago.
I mean, yeah, so far this second point, Chicago's done a really good job. It's really going to be about, with these 5 ultimates Philly has out at this point, basically, how are they going to just fully stop Chicago in their tracks?
Yeah, how do you stop Chicago? Frost does have a bot. Foliage does have a configuration. Configuration artillery. As I say that though, Foliage ripping the configuration artillery manages to pick off Ghostface again. No more beat on the table. This is the second fight in a row where Chicago doesn't have a beat. Dire drops a beat for 3, managing to get them, stabilize a little bit, and Frost, before they die, does send out the Bob, but it's not looking like it's enough, and it's just Vanguard sitting high energy on the cart, managing to push it through, and that is 4 minutes and 50 seconds for Chicago to start pushing C.
That is a lot of time to give any roster. There's just so much time.
Yeah, and change-ups on the side of Philly. Foliage over to the Hanzo. As I say that though, I cast or curse them. Blue Jay turns around, sends a Confine into Foliage. Tire out. Doesn't manage to find anyone, but Vanguard turns around and finds Andrew. This high energy Zarya, you have to find some way to stop him and reset the energy.
Yeah, especially as we're getting to the end, like we're at the last little bit now with 4 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, beat out from Ghostface, man. Catch all 5 members, turn up the tempo a little bit. Lackey rips the window, but unfortunately is not in time to save Andrew through all of that. And it is just Darklaw and Blue Jay and Vanguard all cleaning up on the clock. It's looking like a 3-point cap for Chicago, and it is 3 minutes and 53 seconds left on the clock. Whew.
One minor shout out I'd like to do in that whole bit there was JD's or Darklaw's sleeps as Ana were insanely clutch. He kept shutting down Andrew anytime he tried to run in or use his ultimate. He would just sleep, and there was nothing he can do there.
Yeah, Darklaw really showing the prowess on the showing the support prowess and the power of an Ana, and how quickly an Ana can shut down a push entirely. Didn't matter that Ghostface was the first dead throughout half of these fights. If everyone else on the side of Chicago is popping off, you don't need that.
Right.
They say that as we swap sides though, Chicago on the defense, Blue Jay over to the Torbjorn, Brilliant onto the Bastion, and Ghostface onto the Baptiste. We're having a double flex lineup, and Philly, they need to find some sort of answer to this Vanguard Zarya.
Well, I think honestly it all starts with getting rid of that Ana first, because that Ana was really messing up Andrew, and he wasn't able to fight Vanguard. You gotta, especially in Overwatch, I know you know because you play a lot of tank. That tank, if it falls, the rest of your team will fall quickly afterwards usually.
Yeah, as the doors open up for Philly's attack, Andrew over to the Diva, a signature pick of theirs, Foliage onto the Venture, something we've seen earlier in the season. Philly quickly rotating through the Alderworth Hotel, getting on top of the Dwarf turret, but that is a huge bio need, and Laggy first to fall. Vanguard turns around, picks off Frost, and continuing their rampage, set up by the bio need on the side of Darkclaw. Foliage does manage to turn around, pick off Ghostface again as their parting gift, but that's first 30 seconds off of the clock, and Philly needs to quickly reset.
Yeah, really good nade zone though so far on this defense for Darkclaw. He's just been doing a good job positioning and keeping everyone up.
Yeah, early nade out, Foliage manages to turn around and pick off Brilliant. That's a huge source of damage down on the side of Philly, but Andrew falling really low in the back line. Laggy and Dire need to take care, heal up the tank. As I said, that Blue Jay's turret does fall, and a lamp and a bio nade out, managing to keep Vanguard alive as they're cycling their bubbles, going through. Billy on point, 2 takes, almost looks like they're picking up a third. Vanguard trying to make their way in, and they do manage to touch at the last second. Graviton Surge out, unfortunately Diva's out of mech, can't eat it, and Vanguard turning around, managing to make the point, stop the cap.
Yeah, that was a really good ult there from the Zarya, really just shutting down Philly in their tracks, as you know, now Philly has to, you know, gather themselves and get ready for another push.
Yeah, Foliage ripping the Tectonic Shock, manages to clear, and Dire punishes Blue Jay for their hubris, and is Philly finally capping point A, going into the streets of Kings Row. A little bit slower of a push, a little slower than what Chicago had on their attack, but granted, Philly are on the way through into the streets.
They are in the streets, and Chicago is giving them that bit of first space as Zarya falls early.
Yeah, Frost kind of acting as a bait a little bit, trying to force the Zarya back around to go look at them, and the rest of Philly collapsed while Andrew was still out of mech. Andrew now back into mech. Sure, Brilliant does manage to turn around, take out Frost, but that doesn't matter if you're Philly, you have a tank, and Chicago doesn't. Andrew rushing the high ground, and beating any sort of projectiles coming through. Foliage up over the top. Andrew eating the wheels as much as they can. Unfortunately, is broken out of mech, but Frost turns around, finds Ghostface. That's another huge thing from Philly's Cassidy player. Foliage turning around, finding Brilliant in the meantime as well. Sure, Dire does follow Vanguard, but Frost and Foliage turning around, cleaning up the backline. As I say that, unfortunately, I cast it hurts Foliage again. Vanguard turns around, manages to pick off the Venture, zoning High Noon on the side of Frost to try and buy space for Philly. As we're nearing the end of the streets. Window out from Ghostface, Bastion ripping the wheels right through it, and a high energy Vanguard manages to burn down Andrew. That's the tank on the side of Philly. On Laggy caught in the tunnels, gets staggered themselves, but Philly just need to reset, and it seems like they're doing that right now.
I mean, this is about to become the Q fest of the century. We have 8 out of the available 10 ults in this lobby right now.
We have 8 of the available 10, and if you are Philly, you need to be tracking Vanguard's Graviton Surge. That needs to be eaten and taken off the table immediately for Andrew. Nano out onto Vanguard. There's high energy. flying away. Unfortunately, grabbed out, not eaten by Andrew, and tank ultimate on top as well to confirm the kills. 3 ultimates on the side of Chicago, and they do manage to win the fight. But Philly, they didn't invest anything. Now the Q-Fest swings in their favor.
Yeah, that was a very, very expensive team fight for Chicago. To use 3 ultimates for any team fight is crazy. Just to win that is hard.
Yeah, early sleep out manages to catch Frost in the back lane. Foliage does manage to get the con shock off, and Demon Bomb out manages to catch both deployables, and the rest of Philly are just cleaning up. It's just Vanguard left. High energy Zarya does not matter. Does not matter if you're high energy or not. You're gonna get reset and sent back to the spawn room. That should be Philly capping B and going into the Foundry.
I mean, they're going into the Foundry, but even if they get it to the end, they're gonna have less time than Chicago.
Yeah. At this point, if you're Philly, all you need to do is finish the map. That is, finish the map and finish with time. That is
Yep.
your only goal. It does not matter what else is going on. Map needs to be complete. Philly up on the high ground, angling, poking down for now. Turret early to fall. Blue Jay ripping the wheels mode, trying to hose anyone down. Frost falls very low. Laggy throwing the lamp, saves the Cassidy player, and Dyer turns around, picks off Brilliant. Frost ripping the 10 and Foliage cleaning up for Vanguard. Huge team kill for Philly.
What a triple from Frost. So that is a huge Deadeye.
That is a huge Deadeye, but thank you, Mr. Frost, but you need to be thanking Laggy for saving Frost like that. Frost was falling extremely low, and Laggy Puppy ripping the clutch lamp to make sure that the Cassidy doesn't fall. And it's just a window on cart, and there we go. Philly did it. They completed the map with time on the clock.
They did that in under a minute, I'd want to point out. They pushed that 3rd point in under a minute. That is really fast. As now, they're almost 2 minutes down on time. That is quite a long time in Overwatch.
You're 2 minutes down on time, yes, but we are in OT rounds. Anything can happen. And granted, for both of these teams, they both took at least about two fights on average to cap first.
Yep.
So we have enough time to make it through. Let's see what both of these teams want to run with us. Chicago on the defense. Ghostface onto the Brig. We have a Brig Ana with a May and Bastion. It's an interesting lineup, especially from Ghostface, kind of moving away from the Lucio, away from the Baptiste, over to the Brig to try and catch these dives from Andrew a little bit more. But Philly, we're seeing the classic lineup we've seen out of them all the time, which is Foliage Venture, Frost Cassidy, and then the rest of the core to collapse on it.
I mean, yeah, Andrew Diva has been a thing since OG Season 1 Emerald, and he's still good on it.
Yeah. Frost over to the Widowmaker, trying to take a scouting shot or two. Doesn't manage to find anyone. Everyone inside of Chicago being very smart, playing on the backside of the hotel, not giving the Widow sight line. Philly rotating around the statue. Maywall up, does not manage to isolate anyone on Philly. Lamp out, Laggy falling really low, but keeping the rest of his team alive. As I say that though, Andrew manages to turn around, pick off Brilliant. That's the Bastion down. Andrew does pay his neck for it, but Dyer the next to fall. Sure, if Philly do have the closer spawns, but Andrew, baby Diva, manages to pistol down Blue Jay. Foliage turns around, picks off the Zarya, and that should be first cap for Philly as we go into OT.
I mean, really good quick takeover though. It only took them 50 seconds to take that over. Usually, like you said, it usually took them like 2 or 3 fights to win it. They did it in 1.
Yeah. Maywall up, managing to isolate people off, but Baptiste able to use the Exo boost to get over. As I say that though, Blue Jay eats a Bionade from Darkclaw, or Frost, sorry, eats a Bionade from Darkclaw and falls to the hands of Blue Jay. Okay, and both now Chicago pushing through the choke. They're not letting Philly have this choke for free. Early defensive nade out from Darkclaw, trying to keep everyone alive. Nano out onto the high energy Zarya. Andrew needs to be trapped. Does not eat the grab in time, but there is a lamp critically able to keep Dire up long enough, but eventually does fall in the end. Andrew does get T-Max and is getting staggered super heavily. Philly needs to reset. They need to reset, try to get something out. 10 seconds left on the clock. And 10 seconds left on the clock. Needs one concerted fight to break through this choke. Can they do it?
We'll have to see. They have 2 ults.
Yeah. Early wheels mode out. And High Noon gets walled off by Blue Jay. Doesn't manage to find anyone. Ajax and Dire! But Philly are cleaning up in the kill feed. It's just the Zarya left, and defense. Nice bio nade manages to catch 2 on the side of Chicago, but Andrew and Foliage cleaning up in the clutch.
How's it going?
What a clutchy play right there, but also giant Ajax. That
You hate to see. Any Lucio players in chat know Ajaxes are a time-honored tradition of Lucio players. But Philly critically winning out that fight, and now that we are on the OT push and we're pushing through the streets, anything is possible. But the more distance Philly can cover, the more pressure they put onto Chicago. Early Maywall out, Andrew broken out of mech, uses self-destruct to remech themselves. Dire manages to turn around, root Blue Jay into Oblivion. Lamp out, Vanguard does manage to pick off Frost. That's 4v4 on the cart. Laggy doing their best to keep everyone alive. Andrew turns around, picks off Dark Claw, but grabs critically off the cart. Someone is able to stay and contest cart in time. Luckily. Beautiful grab out of Vanguard to try and force the C9. Unfortunately, does not get lucky enough to grab everyone. As we are getting to the end of B, this fight is getting critical. Lamp out from Laggy Puppy, managed to keep everyone alive, but Dire falling critically low. Laggy keeping the support alive. Both teams angling, fighting for the point. Boop out, Andrew manages to send micro missiles into Ghostface. Andrew takes her with their life. Unfortunately. Beat down,
big beat!
Big beat from Dire. Manages to get all 4 and fully attributing a tectonic shock. We have completed B. We are going into the boundary on OT.
very good push so far from Philly. They've been doing a good job just winning these fights and really keeping track of those ults well.
Yeah. Huge clutch plays coming out on the side of Philly. Laggy Puppy and Dark Wolf both have their support ults up. So 4 ultimates up. What can they get done with them? As I say that though, Dire sitting on the card. Andrew trades for Ghostface. Blue Jay answers back for Frost. Tracer off the table. Laggy Puppy ripping the window, trying to do everything that he can to keep Andrew alive. As Andrew and Dire both sitting on the cart. Another Graviton surge out from Vanguard. Another huge Biodade. Managing to punish. And the cart, guys. The cart. Oh, it's just Andrew left. Ghostface drops the beat for 4, and it's just a baby diva left on cart. That'll be 5 points on the board. And we are about halfway through the Foundry in an OT round.
I mean, yeah, if you are Philadelphia right there, to go in there with a minute and almost nearly 2 minutes to walk almost all the way to the end, you have to be very impressed with yourselves about that push. That was insane.
Yeah, and so when we come into OT, there is no added time. There is no bonus time that you get. So sure, Chicago on their push managed to finish the map with 3 minutes and 3 minutes 53 seconds left on the clock. Essentially, the amount of time you get to cap A on a hybrid guy. But now with that 3 minutes and 53 seconds, they have to push all the way. They have to cap A, push all the way through the streets, and push halfway through C in order to get a win on the snap. Otherwise, Philly is going to be going up 2-0 in the series.
It is a very tall task at anyone to just be like, yeah, you have 4 minutes, push it almost to the end. Like that is a tall order, and for Philly to almost do that with only 2 minutes was crazy.
Yeah, huge props to everyone on Philly for having their clutch moment, for keeping the OT push alive. As the doors open, Chicago out on their attack. Andrew back over to the Ramantra, and Vanguard still rocking the Zarya. Both teams angling through the backside of the hotel, but Chicago angling up forward. Brilliant, popping the wheels early, trying to hose anyone down. As As I say that, though, Philly have to rotate through Hotel. Andrew manages to pick off the Bastion. Frost turns around, picks off Ghostface. That's 2 members down on the side of Chicago. Lamp out to make sure Foliage stays alive, and it's Vanguard falls late. That's huge pick on the side, huge pick from Frost to punish the Zarya and reset her energy. And we are about a minute off the clock.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're already 50 seconds in. I mean, they still have a lot of time, but that's a quarter of your time gone.
Yeah. Now, granted, we did see that on the initial run, on the initial attack. As I say that, though, Blue Jay manages to turn around, send the Confine into Foliage and Skull. Vanguard turns around, picks off Frost, Cassidy off the table. Lamp out from Mighty Puppy, unfortunately falls to the hands of Brilliant, and it is just Andrew left. Andrew and Dyer left. They're going to stagger themselves just a little bit, and that will be Chicago taking point A. We're going into the streets. 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, but to waste that much time already on that first point is really good. You wasted like a minute and like 30 seconds. It was crazy.
Yeah, huge first fight out. As I say that though, early bubbles out on the side of Vanguard, trying to get some energy. Riptire out, manages to pick off Frost. There's a lamp, but Blue Jay sends the Riptire into Dyer. That's losing it down. As I say that though, Philly and Chicago trading blow for blow. It is a 3v2 on the point, and it is just both supports. There's Ghostface and Darklaw retreating back into the spawn, not wanting any sort of business with Philly's choke.
We also got Philly with almost every ultimate in the game versus Chicago. Realistically, they have 3, but yeah, we'll have to see. There's Beat.
Yeah. Beat and Annihilation coming out. The Nano out onto Brilliant. Later Beat from Ghostface, managing to keep everyone alive. And as I say that, trades are coming through. 4v4 in the streets of Kings Row. Brilliant, ripping the Bastion ultimate down onto the street, and Foliage gets slept, manages to pick off Darkfall before falling to the hands of Brilliant, but Brilliant falling really low, and they can't push through with Laggy Puppy's window. That's extremely dangerous. Window falls, and Chicago with the closer spawns, pushing the tempo a little bit, forcing Philly to back up into C, give a little bit of space over. As both teams are coming through, but Frost, does have a Deadeye on the board. What can he get done with it?
I mean, we're already down to 30 seconds left, and they're just now finally finishing the second point. This is going to be a war here at the end of this game too.
Yeah, huge Bionade on the side of Darkfall. Blue Jay manages to turn around, find Brilliant, picks off Frost as well. That's the Deadeye off the board. And it's just Chicago, all Chicago cleaning up in the kill feed. As we get into our final 10 seconds, they are going to cap B. Biscuit, we are 5-5.
We are. It's just 53 meters is the difference, as now it's just ticking away.
Blue Jay ripping the tire out, trying to see what they can find, get any sort of scouting information, going through the mega room, angling around, doesn't manage to find it. Does manage to pick off Foliage. There we go. That's the opening you need if you're Chicago. Graviton Surge out, managing to grab 3. Frost popping the Deadeye, trying to zone people out, and it's just Brilliant. Using the tank, using the Bastion ultimate to zone people out, and Chicago evens out the series 1-1.
I mean, that right there was a very, very impressive overtime push and defense from Philly, but Chicago just ended up winning up that fight. Now we're tied in the series. We'll have to see what Philly wants to bring out as their next map.
Yeah, sure, we're looking at Vanguard's play of the game. Just a clutch grab, managing to turn around and make a fight that really should have been Philly's winnable and holdable for Chicago on their defense. So we're 1-1 in the series. No control, no hybrid. We have Flashpoint, we have Push, we have Escort. Where are you going, Biscuit?
I take them straight to Flashpoint. I mean, they're not running Lucio consistently. They're running Zarya and Sigma, which last time I checked isn't that fast. Versus for Philly, you have the Lucio, you have the Ramattra, you have the Diva, you have the Venture. Like, you want to run fast. That is what Flashpoint is all about.
Speak of the map type, we are going to serve Vasa on
Yep.
the side of Philly. Foliage confirming the map, and then taking a brief pause. Excuse me. But so looking at both of these teams, sure, map one. That's not map one. It's not too close if you're Chicago. You have some grit. You managed to fight for some points, but that felt like Philly was in control. Map two, that's just insane. Both teams pushing through, making the series close, really coming down to those last OT moments for both teams.
And that's what we love about these playoffs and the finals. It's why we're here. We want to watch it. We love seeing these intense fights and battles. It's been very good over these seasons. I know you were part of the Emeralds one that we just had earlier this week. It went to Game 7. That was intense. That was our first ever Game 7. And now we're here. These two teams look like, with how tight these fights are going, they might go the distance.
They might go the distance, and honestly speaking, I am here for it. I am here for good clutch Overwatch. Both teams, both players fighting for everything on the line and pushing through for that final chip.
Absolutely. But I guess for Philly, I think this is a great map for them. Like I said earlier, those tank picks, amazing. They have the Lucio. They also are running BAP a good bit, so that also helps. And then, Frost has been Cassidy, so that's fine. That doesn't really change much, versus the side of Chicago. It's gonna be a little rough. Does not look like they're all that comfortable with Lucio, at least.
They were running it map 2.
Mm-hmm.
With Ghostface back into the lineup, and we're starting to see some signs of life. It didn't seem like Creep was comfortable with the Lucio pick on map 1, and that could have bitten Chicago a little bit on the back end. But either way, you are 1-1 in the series. Throw out any other maps, throw out any other series. It is Suravasa right here, right now. That's the map you need to win, and start taking the lead in the series. Both teams coming out. Philly running the same lineup that we saw them run on Kings Row. Frost this time starting on the Tracer instead of the Cassidy, and Chicago Vanguard back over to the Zarya that was doing them so well.
That Zarya can make some real havoc here. It's really going to be, how are they going to basically get people to funnel to just attack her bubbles? But that Tracer, I feel like, will do a lot of damage here, honestly, for the side of Philly.
Yeah, if Frost and Foliage can come through, take clean fights, but break things down, open up opportunities for your DPS to come in and find those picks. That's what we see Philly do best. Wheels mode early out from on the side of Brilliance. Doesn't manage to find anyone as Andrews beats it all. But Blue Jay turns around, sends a conch mine into Dire. That's the Lucio down on the side of Philly. Tracer slept another conch mine out this time onto Frost. Andrew does manage to micro missile down Brilliant. That's the Bastion gone, and Philly first cap of the point. It's just Andrew and Laggy. Laggy on high ground, playing his life as best he can. Vanguard finally manages to turn around, wheel him down, but bought enough time critically for the rest of Philly to come back in. And Philly just standing there playing whose point is it anyway. Come in for the touch, 1 touch, 2 touch, who's next? And it's almost 40% built up for Philly off of that first fight. Just actually being down just by smart map positioning on the side of Andrew and Laggy Puppy.
I mean, it's always good, especially in Flashpoint, to get that first capture because these points move and progression so fast. Like, look, we're already at 30% for Chicago.
Yeah. As we go into this next fight, Vanguard does have the Graviton Surge up. If Andrew doesn't manage to beat it, but unfortunately Vanguard kind of misses the grab, doesn't manage to catch anyone with it. As I said that though, Dyer does fall to the hands of the Zarya. That's the Lucio consistently down again. And 60% and counting on the side of Chicago on this first flashpoint. Again, Philly, they're down a member. They can't engage. They can't push the tempo when the Lucio is the first pick. And it's, you know, you're a little thankful that Vanguard kind of missed the grab surge, but oh well, you know, we're down one. As I say that though, Ghostface Ajaxes his beat. Unfortunate to die at the hands of Foliage. Foliage managed to pick off 4 with the ultimate, and Philly claimed control again at the point.
I mean, losing beat like that though for Chicago has gotta be rough. You're definitely wanting that ultimate back.
Yeah, it hurts to see, but like I said to Dyer on King's Row, you're a Lucio player. Ajaxes are just part of the job. Brilliant opening up with the configuration artillery strike, and Chicago answering back with 3 ultimates. Andrew ripping the D-bomb boost. When he manages to pick off Brilliant, that's the Bastion down. Does pay for it with his life in the process. It's just Laggy and Dyer. What can Laggy and Dyer do? Laggy does manage to pick off Blue Jay, but falls, and Dyer soon falls after him. Tracer's back in. He falls out, managing to take time and resources away from Chicago, trying to buy as much time as possible. Flip does go in favor of Chicago. Andrew back now, but someone's got to touch. Andrew in next for the touch. Bionated purple, and unfortunately broken out of mech. Graviton Surge out again. Unfortunately, does not manage to catch the Lucio in time, but Foliage turns around, picks off the Ana. And Foliage picks off the Ana, and now grabs the Bastion. Laggy Puppy ripping the window, trying to get anything done, but it is 3v2 on the point. Vanguard doesn't manage to burn down Dyer, but Ghostface falls in the process. It is 2v1. Vanguard as best as he can, but Philly in the clutch manages to turn around and get first cap of that point. Whew, that was a fight.
What a complete fight. I hope this is how the whole series is. This is gonna be a war.
Yeah, market going the way of Philly as we go to Palace next. Philly angling up first control of the point. And as all of that was going down, the only Q we have left on the board is the pulse bomb from Frost. And some would call that just a long cooldown. Both bubbles out immediately and pretty early from the side of Vanguard. Andrew does manage to get hit with the Bionade. And this purple manages to back away. Foliage ripping the tectonic shot, manages to pick off the Ana. Andrew turns around, finds the Lucio, and the rest of Philly are trading back. Blue Jay the last to fall, and that's team kill sound going off in chat. Philly, first cap on the point.
I mean, yeah, if you are the side of Philly, you gotta be feeling good. You didn't use any ult for that fight. You're saving up your ultimates now. For Chicago, I mean, you have beef. That's really good. You can basically interrupt any ultimate in the game with it.
Yeah, or you can, at this point, you can temple knowing that Foliage doesn't have the tectonic shock on the board. Frost pulls one out, doesn't manage to find anyone. Forgorn on the side of Brilliant now, trying to control the Tracer a little bit. Philly steps off the point. Dyer does fall, and Andrew broken out of mech. 52% on the board for Philly as Chicago flips.
Ooh, and it looks like, oh, okay, they were trying to get a sneaky back cap.
You gotta appreciate the Tracer turning around, making everyone on the side of Chicago buy time, buy resources to go deal with the Tracer that's turning around and threatening point cap. As I say that though, Blue Jay and Vanguard both have their ultimates up. Riptire out from Blue Jay. What can he find? Manages to not really find anything, but does force Tracer does turn around and forces Zarya bubble over onto Blue Jay. Graviton Surge out, managing to grab Blackie, lamp, force it to lamp early, but Andrew turning around, going down Dark Claw. That's a large source of healing from the Moira out. Beat down to help stabilize. You kind of appreciated it, especially with how low Vanguard was falling and not having the Moira there, but it's looking like it's getting pretty dire. And as I say that, we are 1-1 on Flashpoint.
Going 1-1 on the Flashpoint is interesting. We'll have to see where this ends up, but I do like the Ramatra pick in general, I feel like.
Yeah. Andrew moving away from the Diva onto the Ramatra, trying to brawl out a little more. Foliage onto the Mei as well. Can punish Vanguard, Chicago, for pushing aggressively. And Frost off the Tracer onto the Cassidy. Really applying more hit scan long range pressure. Bubble out on the side of Vanguard, managing to eat up some of Andrew's Nemesis form. Beat out, manages to catch all 5 members of Philly. Andrew falling extremely low. Nice hook on the corner from Dyer to make sure that the Ramatra gets the beat. And Philly first control of the point. For it. As everyone's opening up, Brilliant managing to rip the Molten Core, dropping it onto the point. Everyone has to run and scatter. Andrew does manage to turn around, pick off the Torbjorn, but is just paying for it with his life. 26% on the board for Philly.
Very good start. That little percentage could, make a difference, but we'll have to see as Philly is regrouping themselves.
Yeah, and Brilliant off of the Torbjorn, back over to the Bastion, realizing that there are no flankers on the field. Don't need to control that anymore. As I say that though, who needs a flanker when you have Dyer and Frost turning around, running the back line down. Graviton Surge out, manages to pick off Dyer through it. Unfortunately, Puppy's Lamp doesn't manage to catch him in time. And Vanguard is just high energy, mowing everyone down. Philly does manage to turn around, flip the point in the process, and Andrew and Frost turning around, clutching up. Vanguard last to fall. And another scrappy fight on the side of the field.
Another scrappy fight, but also look at Philly, almost with 4 ultimates to just Chicago's 1, but it is Riptire, and Blue Jay's been doing pretty good with it so far.
Yeah, Blizzard out from Foliage. Frost getting booped up into the air by the Conk Mine, manages to turn around, pick off Brilliant. Andrew turns around, finds Ghostface. That's 3v5 on the board, but that's both DPS ults on the side of Philly out. Darklaw turns around, manages to find Dyer in the ensuing chaos, but that's Philly angling up, and they're gonna be going up 2-1 on Saravasa.
Going 2-1 in any Flashpoint's really good. You just gotta end it now. You just gotta close this up and make it not go to round 5 in this.
Yeah, Philly in the driver's seat and managing to be in control of this map. As I said that though, as we go to Temple, Blue Jay gripping the Riptire. Foliage manages to send an icicle straight into Darklaw's skull. Tire does manage to pick Andrew, so Tank traded on the side of Philly, but Foliage turns around, finds Ghostface. That's Lucio off the board and no beat as well. Vanguard does burn down Laggy, but Frost turns around, resets the energy. Brilliant next to fall to the hands of Frost, and it is just a Junkrat on the point. Sure, he manages to turn around, send the Conk Mine into Foliage, but Frost and Dyer are here, and they are capping for Philly.
I mean, for the side of Philly, you gotta be happy with that kind of team fight. You didn't really use any major resources there to get it. You still have 3 ultimates, and yeah, you gotta be looking pretty good on this.
Yeah, with Vanguard coming, Brilliant does have the Bastion ult, ripping it. Dyer dropping a beat in response. Only manages to catch 3 with his beat. A little unfortunate. Ghostface a later beat, but only catches 2. Not finding the most amount of value with the peak. Brilliant does manage to burn down Andrew as the annihilation is going. But Philly with control of the series, control of the map, sorry. Pushing their advantage. 60%, 65% in counting. 1 fight territory on this Flashpoint. Vanguard and Darklaw both have ultimates up. What can they get done with it? Lackey gripping the window early. But as everyone's pressing everyone's pressing Q. It is Chicago turning around in the kill feed with more valuable Qs, and Blue Jay still has the Riptire, and Vanguard still alive, does fall at the very end to Frost, so that is the energy on the Zarya reset. But that'll be Chicago taking control of this, taking control of Temple.
I mean, yeah, so far, Temple's been always a little hitter there with teams, but so far, I mean, Philly did a really good job on that first point. They got up to 99.
Yeah, we have a Doom site, ladies and gentlemen. We have our annual Ruby Doom sighting. This time coming up from the side of Vanguard. Slow field out, does manage to catch some people and buys Philly some time to rotate. As they come through, Ghostface manages to clean up on Vanguard's punch, and Vanguard turning around, getting 2 with the punch. Brilliant and Blue Jay coming around for the cleanup, and that's a team kill on the side of Chicago. Massive change-ups on the side of Philly. Andrew back over to the Diva, Foliage over to the Pharah, trying something, anything, but Philly needs to angle in for a touch. They have to go now. You gotta go, Philly. Vanguard manages to punch.
And there they are.
Yeah.
Aww.
Huge punch from the Doom Fist to stop Philly from touching. Real nice play from Vanguard. And Chicago evens the map up 2-2. We're going to the final flashpoint as the team kills horn sounds.
Going to the final point on King's Row is always interesting. It's always a lot of fun. It's very tight and intense.
Yeah. At this point, this feels like a new wrinkle for Philly to unlock. They have to deal with the Vanguard Doomfist. A character that can really turn around and disrupt things. As I say that, again, caster cursing him. Foliage manages to turn around, pick off the Doomfist. That's the takedown. Foliage answers back, finds Ghostface. Andrew runs down Brilliant. As the first flashpoint comes, first cap going into the of the Philly. And Vanguard says, enough Doomfist, no more. Mirroring the Diva.
Mirroring it up as, I mean, at least their ultimates, I know it's definitely in the side of Philly. I mean, they're about to have 4 ultimates. Actually, sorry, all 5.
Yeah, they're about to have all 5. Ghostface early beat, trying to get things aggressive. Dyer boots up into the air, does manage to drop, hit the ground, but Foliage turning around for 2, manages to get Ghostface and Vanguard out of the Diva mech before Brilliant manages to send bullets into his skull. But Andrew, Laggy, and Frost all turning around. As I say that though, that's a Moira in the backline. Andrew's broken out of mech. Frost does fall, and it's just a baby Diva in the back. Baby Diva does fall in the hands of Moira, and Laggy's running away, playing his life as best he can, and is able to escape. 86% on the board for Philly before Chicago flips into their favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a decent amount of time. It's time for enough team fight or 2 for Chicago, as there's another Riptire.
Another Riptire. What can Blue Jay get done with it? Coming around, hunting, searching. Laggy does destroy it before it can go off. That's one ultimate down. The only ultimate on the side of Chicago. Laggy and Andrew both have their ultimates ready to go. But Foliage, first of all, Blue Jay of all people, it's not every day you're seeing the jump turn around, pick off the Pharah, and that's unfortunately Philly. They have to reset. Down the Pharah, now down the Lucio and the Diva. Philly just needs to back out, play their life. You can't afford any more saggers. As I say that though, unfortunately, that's a team kill.
That is a team kill, and for Philly, they have to hurry. Dyer has to run, basically, to here.
Yeah, Andrew caught in the jump trap. Unfortunately, not able to make it. And Dyer gets online off. Oh. That's Chicago going up 2-1 in the series.
I mean, still though, that whole time, that whole fight, it did not feel one-sided at all.
No.
That was tooth and nail the entire time.
Yeah.
No team felt like it had the, advantage or anything in that fight. At least to me, it looked pretty even.
It was a slugfest, no matter how you looked at it. Yeah, we got to see Vanguard's play of the game. A huge 3K punch for the Doom, managing to knock 2 off the side, and Ghostface turning around and cleaning up Frost, who hit a wall. Beautiful Doom fist play that won Chicago that point and ultimately helped turn things around in the series. Okay.
Absolutely. As now Chicago, for the first time in the series, is leading.
They are leading for the first time in the series, but Philly, you're not out. It's not over yet. You're not out of it yet. But map 4, where are you going? You have push, you have escort.
I mean, that Doomfist and everything was really good in the pinch there. If I'm Philly, I'm not sure as of where you go, especially now that you've seen that new few heroes he pulled out. That Doomfist he did really good on. It's really going to be all about how can these DPS, because I mean I know Andrew and Vanguard will just try to counter Overwatch each other. They're just going to counter pick. It's really going to be about what's the best for the DPS to try to get rid of that backline for Chicago.
Yeah, get rid of the backline. It really, as we were watching that map, it's just slugfest after slugfest. But throughout that map, it felt, at least for me, and call me biased as a tank player, but watching that tank matchup, Vanguard's choice to go over to the Doomfist just felt like it threw Philly through a loop. They didn't know what to do. And sure, they've managed to turn around, find an answer in the end, which was go back to the D.Va. But by that point, it's just, the Doomfist did its work. Blue Jay with the Junkrat did their job in setting up a trap that prevented Andrew from getting a final touch. And all of a sudden, a map that was really close, if you're Philly, goes by the wayside. Foliage and Philly opting to go to Watchpoint Gibraltar. So we are going to escort, and this feels like a smart pick if on the side of Philly. You like dive. You like dive. You know Chicago, if they get a map pick, if they get the choice between escort or push not really favorable to the Sigma. Not really favorable to that Sigma comp as much. So, but what map is that we have in our map pool? Circuit Royale. So if you're Philly, screw it. We're taking Circuit Royale out of the pool. We're going to Watchpoint Gibraltar. We're going to play to our strengths. Come match us.
Absolutely. I mean, this is always a good map for the Winston or the D.Va. It could also be pretty good for Doom. It really depends how the teams will go. But yeah, this is going to be interesting.
If you want to find a way to claw back into the series, this is the smartest map choice I could have seen out of it. And that's play to our strengths, play to our strengths, play to what we like to do, and force Chicago to either get uncomfortable and find answers on the fly, or play our game. You win this map, great. You're now even in the series, and we're going to a map 5. You go down. You have your pick of push maps, and the push maps tend to favor the comps and the tanks that Philly likes a lot more. So it's still not over yet. As I say that though, we have Dire on the Mercy, pocketing Foliage, and Blue Jay over onto the Widowmaker, trying to find an opening scouting shot, seeing what they can do. Grappling up, forcing the sightlines out, forcing Philly to respect them. Both teams angling on the high ground. Vanguard and Ghostface pushing the card right now. As the map's opening up, Sombra going up and around, manages to land the virus onto Dire, forcing Laggy to come and look at him a little bit. As I say that though, Frost turns around, picks off the Sombra. It's hurt. It is still 40. It is still 44. Blue Jays sitting in the back line, manages to get carried up a little bit. Philly backing up, giving control of the car wash as Chicago pushes through. Both teams angling up, trying to find their next way in. Andrew controlling blue box on the high ground with Laggy, but Vanguard Ziva is eating up all of the resources. Suzu out, and Frost manages to find Brilliant. There's the opening pick you needed. Vanguard sure turns around, manages to pick off Laggy, but Foliage picks off Blue Jay. And it's just a scrappy fight. Vanguard's left on the park. Early Diva Bomb, unfortunately is killed before it can reset the mech. But Philly, okay, there we go. You got your stabilization you need, and it's right before we enter into the B phase. But we are notoriously at the end of point A on Watch Point Gibraltar. This is where teams a lot of the time can stall out. Blue Jay shot out, doesn't manage to hit anyone.
I mean, yeah, definitely this first point, it's always a bloodbath at the very end.
Yeah, and Frost does get hacked and virus. Dyer manages to fly around, pick Res Foliage, bring it back into the fight, but at the cost of Frost's life. And it's looking like Andrew's just gonna pay for it with his life. Unfortunately, he's not able to do self-destruct in time and falls to the hands of Ghostface. Foliage ripping the barrage, unable to find anyone before falling. And 4 minutes and counting as we go into point B for Chicago's attack.
I'm on the payload.
There's a lot of time to put onto the board, but for Philly, you have a lot of ultimates being ready and stored up. For Chicago, I mean, you have them. It's just really all about who's going to press Q first.
Yeah,
No one can hide from my
Foliage off of the Pharah, over to the Cassidy. 4-man EMP on the side of Brilliant. Managing to turn around. Nice Suzu from Laggy. Help cleanse everyone. Nano out onto Vanguard, trying to build up for the next self-destruct. Dyer floating. Lost mode activated, trying to do everything he can in order to keep Philly alive. Bob out on the side of Philly. Manages to run past the car, but gets slept immediately. Tank passive on Bob, kicking in, and Bob back into the fight. Blue beam over onto Bob, and Foliage with the assistance of 4 of his teammates, manages to turn around and pick off the Widow. That is the Widow down. When Blue Jay off of the Widow over to the Sojourn, saying enough of the sniper, trying to get more active into the fight. But it's just a slugfest as we go on. Rally pops on the side of Chicago. Answered back with Light Puppies. Sune Rush. A Diva Bomb out from Vanguard. What can he get done with it? Anything. Manages to pick off Laggy. Brilliant picks Dyer. Andrew Shirk does turn around, pick off the baby Diva. And unfortunately, he's going to part with his own self-destruct. And it's just Frost left. Can he get anything done? No, he cannot. He's backing up. But backing up, resets himself off the side of the map, trying to get back in time with Philly. We are 4 minutes and counting going into C.
A lot of time. If you are Philly, you gotta figure out how to slow this team down and stop them. You do have high noons that could create some space, but let's see how they use this ultimate.
Yeah, you have the high noons. You also have Frost going over to the Widowmaker. Again, we saw what Blue Jay could do with the sniper on point A. Now Philly answering back with Frost. As I say that though, Laggy Puppy manages to send Kunai into Brilliant. That's the Sombra off of the field. And Vanguard running in, bomb rushing Andrew down. Gets nanoed for his troubles, but it's Andrew just playing his life, trying to back up as best he can. Bionade out, manages to hit Vanguard, keep him alive. And Frost turns around, sends a Widow shot into Brilliant. There's the opening pick you need. Sure, Vanguard gets on top of the Widow and manages to run him down, but pays for it with his mech. And Foliage ripping the high noon, forcing the members of Chicago back. 3 minutes on the clock, and we finally got a stabilization from Philly. But we are pretty much at the end of Watch Point Gibraltar as well.
I mean, yeah, but it's a lot better for you to end it rather than they go the distance, even if it's close.
Yeah, because they say that Frost does manage to pick off Ghostface. That is the rig down, so Andrew can have more free reign. And Frost, who needs free reign when Frost is just going to turn around and send a shot into Darklaw's skull? Brilliant does manage to turn around, take the Widow out of the fight, so it is a 3v4 on the point, but Frost looking back so much faster, and the rest of Chicago have to reset with no supports on the field. 4-man
Ooh,
team.
EMP!
And Bomb does manage to pick off Laggy and Dyer. Both supports down. Another huge round of ultimates, but both DPS from Philly managing to turn around in the clutch, find picks as much as they can. Frost back into the spawn room, trying to make sure that they don't pay for it with their life. Andrew, Nano, on. Oh.
He
That
got
has-
rejected.
Oh, that has to hurt. Andrew just got caught on map geometry.
Yep.
Just caught on map geometry. That hurt. That really has to hurt if you're Philly. That being said, though, Chicago 2 minutes on the clock for an OT push. What can Philly do?
I mean, if you're Philly, I think one of the very first things you have to do in this situation is you need to get rid of those supports. This whole series so far, I mean, we've seen JD do some serious work as Ana and the other supports he's been playing. I think those supports need to fall as fast as you can at the start of every fight.
Yeah, Philly on the attack. They haven't selected heroes yet. They're still pondering, but on the side of Chicago, on the defense, Blue Jay over to the Hanzo, Brilliant back over onto the Sombra, really trying to put a one-shot threat onto the field. And Philly, okay, Philly, I see what we're doing. We are completely flipping the script. Goodbye, Diva. Hello, Ramatra. If you can't dive them, why not brawl it out?
Yup. I mean, Ramatra was really good here. Oh yeah, they're going straight up, just like, let's fight. We're just going straight into it.
Yeah, my worry is how are you, okay, Foliage is onto the Tracer, so Sim was just a TP over. Dyer managing to send a whip shot out, forces Brilliant back. And Foliage cleans up for the kill. There you go, that's the opening pick you need. Foliage now in control of the card as Philly push forward onto the high ground. Frost falls extremely low, eats it, probably ate a log from Blue Jay, but his damage is good carried up by his core. Dyer falling extremely low. Laggy needs to pump some heals into the break and fast. But Storm arrows out onto the high ground, and now Philly, no Sim TP, no Diva. They have to do a long rotation, and as I say that, Blue Jay sends a log right into Laggy Puppy's skull.
During this whole time, no one is looking at the. Oh, there they are.
Okay. Foliage Mint as the Tracer. Again, forcing the map control, forcing the map awareness, doing the Tracer's job, which is to push the cart all the way through the car wash and force the space back. That is bought enough time for Philly to start the long rotate up onto high ground. As I say that though, Blue Jay using the Sonic Arrow, getting scouting information, communicating back to their team where Philly is angling from. But is just tracer around the backline trying to be annoying. Andrew ripping the Nemesis form, and Laggy turns around with the help of Dyer and picks off Brilliant. That's the Sombra down again. First pick on the side of Chicago.
That Sombra is a good job getting rid of that Sombra, but even right now, like, that Ana is getting free real estate up there.
Yeah, honestly, free real estate, and no one really on the side of Philly can go up and contest them without having to commit a long way around. You would send Foliage to do it, but Foliage is also currently distracting on the card. Frost does manage to turn around, pick off the Ana, who needs to go rotate high ground when you can have a Cassidy hit headshots like that. And Foliage for 2 with the pulse bomb. Does manage to take themselves out in the process, but who cares when you get 2 with it? And it's okay. Philly all cleaning up in the kill feed as we go into the point B. And Winton Overwatch, ladies and gentlemen. Coming out of the side of Chicago, I do like this pick. The Diva is very good at finding and putting pressure onto one target, but the Winston with the bubble can zone a lot more effectively. As I say that though, Dyer ripping the rally and managing to turn around, punish the rest of Chicago as they sit on high ground for free. Foliage pushing cart and the rest of Philly with that bot time. setting up on high ground. They might not be playing the dive comp, but they are playing this beautifully and understanding their awareness. Virus out from Brilliant, lands onto Foliage, forces the recall out, but Dire turns around and picks off the brick. Sure, Ghostface and Vanguard do turn around and pick off the Cass and other brick respectively. And yeah, okay, Chicago coming through. Laggy trades a pick onto Ghostface in his dying breath, and it is just Andrew left alone. Andrew needs to go down quickly and does, but unfortunately, wait, nope, yeah, that is unfortunate. Andrew does stagger themselves. He is caught on the back wave of respawns. And now Brilliant over to the Symmetra. Reading what Philly are doing, trying to get quick high ground access for free, and say, okay, here's our way we're gonna take high ground, and here's our way we're gonna take high ground. Teleport us.
TP is really helpful if you ever on attack or defense. Just really good to have.
Yeah. Interesting strategy coming out. Ghostface popping the rally, Blue Jay falling extremely. Dire punishes Ghostface with the rally. Andrew ripping the Annihilation, trying to get anything they can done. Manages to pick off Darkfall, Cross and Foliage, turning around for Brilliant and Blue Jay respectively. Vanguard does manage to pick off Laggy Puppy, but unfortunately with the primal rage, it is not enough, and that payload is going all the way to C.
Right now, Philly is the upper hand with the ultimates. They're going back to Zarya. That'll be fun.
I like this out of Chicago. So Blue Jay does have the Dragon Strike. Vanguard, if he can build up a Graviton Surge, which we've seen him when he gets high energy and he starts cycling, he's building grabs every other fight.
Yep.
A grab dragon combo will instantly end Philly, and there's nothing on the side of Sando. Although, who needs a grab dragon when you have a Foliage that'll just stick a pulse bomb onto the Hanzo? Why not? Why not?
I mean, get rid of a squishy or two instantly. That's what makes her all good. I mean, if he can land it.
Yeah. Blue Jay ripping the Dragon Strike, but Frost with the Deadeye managed to pick off Dark Claw. Andrew does get the nano from Laggy Puppy and is using it to help build up full. Nice slow field from Andrew, and Dire turning around, popping the rally, punishing everyone, and Philly answers back, and this time Philly answers back with more time on the clock. Granted, it is a 20-second difference between both teams, but this means Philly is defending first.
I mean, 2 minutes versus 2:20, not that big of a deal, but having that little extra 20 seconds will definitely let you breathe a little easier. You'll be able to make that little fine adjustment or two that otherwise you couldn't have. But we'll have to see what they'll roll out with. I really liked the Ramatra pick.
Yeah, the Ram pick out of Andrew. It felt like Philly finally found a way to stabilize. And yeah, it's not Andrew's Diva, but it is Andrew's Ramatra. And it's Andrew's Ramatra and finding a way to stabilize and really pushing the tempo and showing great map control and map awareness. Understanding that, yeah, you are playing Gibraltar. This map plays by high grounds. Point blank. And you can't access it easily, but when you are accessing it, you are making sure you are buying time for people to get up there and buying the space. And Foliage has started to come alive this series on this map, on the Tracer. Finding those opening picks, distracting, really doing everything he can to force Chicago open.
He's been doing a really good job stopping that Sombra in her track, just making Brilliant not much of a factor in that last round with that Sombra, it felt like.
Yeah, as I say that though, Blue Jay, the Widow does manage to turn around, pick off Foliage. That's the Tracer down. That's a lot of your cart presence and control as well, also falling by the wayside. All of Chicago are pushing through Car Wash, and Philly being down one, they just have to start giving up the high ground. Frost using the cast roll to roll back over and catch the other high ground. Brilliant, man, falls really low. TP's out and gets carried. Unfortunately, no one from the side of Philly is able to capitalize and punish the Sombra from the stagger. As I said the Ghostface turns around, manages to send a whip shot into Frost's skull, and that's Cassidy down. Tracer hacked out onto the field as things are getting chaotic. Andrew falls extremely low. Laggy turning around, making sure to keep care of the tank, keep him alive. And buying time, Andrew slept, hacked, getting stunned. Ghostface does manage to get slept by Laggy Puppy, and Andrew uses the Nemesis form to punish. Okay, there we go, Philly. That's what you like. That's what you like to see if you're a Philly fan. And the rest of the team rallying around and stopping Chicago before capping point A. 30 seconds left onto the clock. Philly angling up onto the high ground, angling up by Blue Box, and Chicago need to find the way to answer. Blue Jay ripping the infra site. Wall hacks initiated, trying to getting advanced scouting information. Oh, that is unfortunate. Blue Jay manages to send a shot right into Frost's skull. That is Cassidy down. Philly needing to answer, but Philly needs to answer. They turn around. Foliage managed to pick off Brilliant. That's the EMP off of the board as we get into the OT fight. But Blue Jay, he is skeet shooting on high ground. Rally, Nano, and Annihilation all ripped at the same time, trying to help stabilize the core Philly. Diva Bomb out, Dire shielding it off, protecting his team in the process. Like to see it. And Frost turns around, manages to pick off Brilliant. Later rally from Ghostface, trying to stick something out. Foliage sticks onto the shield and Ghostface falls! That is huge. That is the rallying breaks off of the field. Frost with two with the dead eye. Manages to send a flashbang right into Dark Claw's skull. And Philly stabilize, holding firm on point A.
Really good final defense though from the side of Philly. That's what you want to see out of Gibraltar. That final stand on that first point is always going to win it out.
Yeah, but Philly you saw on the side of Chicago with Blue Jay constantly finding the first opening picks onto either Frost or Foliage. If Chicago want to win this snap and go up 3-1 in the series, they need a out of body performance from their Widow player, now May player, in the lobby again.
I mean, yeah, if they want to go up 3-1, but I mean, so far for Philly, this is looking really promising to get this series tied back up at the moment.
Yeah, this is 100% winnable if you are Philly. Again, same comp as last time on their attack. So Andrew is over back onto the Ramatra, Frost onto the Cassidy. Foliage is gonna go use the Sim TP, TP his team over onto high ground, and then go Tracer and force cart again. But this time, Chicago all hiding in the side room. They know this. They know what's coming up. Maywall quickly out, manages to isolate Frost, but Frost rotates smartly and gets down around. Diva boops everyone. Diva booping the support off of high ground, and Andrew's just alone. Forces the ice block out of Blue Jay. But that's about all you're gonna force. There's Andrew and Foliage around on the side. And Fire, that is unfortunate. All super low, gets run over by Vanguard. Brilliant turns around, finds Frost as well. And it is all Chicago in the kill feed. But that's okay.
Absolutely.
You have time if you're Philly, but you have 90 seconds left. Frost off of the Cassidy onto the Ash, using some of the long range hit scan, try to find something done. If he can build up a Bob as well in 90 seconds, that's great. Bob can help push the cart and puts him be a 6-man on the field. Brilliant. Out with the wheels mode. Dynamite forces the Bionade out from Dark Claw, but it's just Vanguard trying to contest Heart, and the rest of Philly are kind of just distracting him. Foliage is in the back harassing the Diva as the Tracer, and Andrew is just looking at him, forcing the pincer attack. It's just Vanguard on the cart. But Vanguard flies away from the cart over into the back line. Bionade out from Laggy Puppy helps to keep Andrew alive, and Frost turns around and finds Ghostface. Brilliant does turn around and find Foliage, so that's the Tracer off the field, but that's the artillery strike coming down from Brilliant when he gets done. Andrew falls extremely low, forcing the Bionade out from Laggy Puppy, but as he does that, turns around, manages to pick up Blue Jay before falls to the hands of Brilliant. Diva bomb out from Vanguard. What can you get done? Does not manage to find anything except for a remake, but it is just Andrew on the car in the car wash, forcing it through. It is Vanguard down, needs to fall back, reset with their team as Philly are pushing up through the car wash. 13 seconds left on the clock. Andrew, nano annihilation, gets walled off by the Meg, gets zoned off by the Bastion. Bullfrog stuck onto the Trace. Bullfrog stuck onto the Bastion, but unfortunately, with the armor, does not manage to fall. As I said that though, Bob out in the backline, shooting through the wall. And it is Bob for the win.
Bob the Builder.
Bob for the win. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Sixth Man, for getting Philly back into the series. It is 2-2 tied up as we go into map 5.
Bob the Builder coming in to save the day on that, getting it tied back up 2-2. At this point, we are guaranteed a game 6 no matter what.
We are guaranteed a game 6 no matter what. And critically, I want to point out, Frost's Bob manages to go past the cart and hits the back end of the defense. And you see Blue Jay put up the May wall, trying to isolate things out, thinking that the Bob is on cart and they can protect themselves with that May wall. But critically, Bob was not on cart. Bob was behind you, shooting you in the butt, and all you did was basically force a wall up between you and a hard place. And Bob just gets the free shoot.
I mean, it was a fantastic placement from the Ash for that Bob. Putting it in that back line, basically it's, okay, you want to face Andrew point blank, or do you want to deal with Bob point blank?
Why have one tank on the field when you can have two?
No, right.
If you're Chicago, you have to go to push.
Yes.
Point blank.
Yep.
What push map do you opt for?
The kind of not great thing here is that Andrew's main tanks are meant for more dive /rush. So push works pretty well, it feels like, for it. Especially when they got Lucio running and everything. Works pretty well. And you can keep the Ash, it will work well.
Yeah, both teams opting for a 5-minute break as we go in. This has been one back and forth series, but yeah, Chicago, you need to answer back. You need to answer back on push.
Yep. What map do you think they should go to?
I feel like the smarter option is to go to Coliseo. And, go to Coliseo, play around the Vanguard Sigma, play around Brilliant and Blue Jay, really finding those opening picks with, finding the opening picks on the long-range hit scan or, the Hanzo, whatever you want. But if you're Philly, the maps we have in the pool, the best map for Chicago is Coliseo, but we could always get surprised by going to an Esperanza or going to a Runasapi.
I mean, I agree. I mean, the issue with these push maps is like, yeah, there is one that could give you a slight advantage, but for the most part, the layouts are very roughly similar. So for rush/dive, this is like the mode for them.
Yeah.
This is the mode for rush and dive, and that's what Philly likes to do. They would love to do rush versus rush or dive versus dive.
Yeah, as we're bantering in bantering in chat, we got the Wawa versus Sheets debate. If you're on the East Coast or you're in Pennsylvania, you know the deal. At least for the Philly boys, it's Wawa country.
Well, as someone who's
in Ohio that's never seen a Wawa in person, I will go with Sheets.
Aw.
As I have a Sheets literally 5 minutes down my road, and then there's like 5 other Sheets near me.
You know, it's like so for me when I went to college, I was like right in the middle of Wawa and Sheets country, where if I go any further east, I'm in Wawa country. If I go any further west, I'm in Sheets country. But I always, Wawa hoagies always number one in my heart. $6 Wawa classics going on right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah. You said we're on break? Oh.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I just like going to Sheets because they make the food like it's good. It's just expensive.
Yeah, for me, Sheets is I would go there if I wanted fried food,
Which is what I like.
and I would go, and it would be Wawa Wawa for hoagies or Wawa mac and cheese. That is my jam.
I mean, if I'm up at 2 a.m. and I want some chicken or something, I'm going to Sheets. Maybe Rallies. Rallies is open really late. I guess that depends where you are, but for me, they're always open like 4 a.m.
Any coleslaw eaters in chat? I could occasionally go for some coleslaw, Laggy, but like, it really depends. It really does depend. As we are talking about food and getting things up, Chicago have opted to go over to Colosseo. This for a push map that they are backed into the corner of. This is the best map that they could have chosen. And for both of these teams, as you are playing a best of 7, whoever wins this map really starts dictating the tempo in the series and starts to get, starts to put their foot onto the gas as to where the rest of the series draw out. We are guaranteed a map 6 at this point.
We are.
Yes. We are guaranteed a map 6.
I was gonna say, just in general, Game 5 in any Game 7 series is always super big, important in the deciding, especially when we're going into it tied. It gives that team a very big advantage, but I mean, don't know. As here we go to Colosseo.
Colosseo, this time with the removed glass edition. Colosseo removed glass edition. Now, Biscuit, we know what both of these teams have liked to run. We know what both of these teams have really favored. Colosseo is probably the one push map in our pool that could really, really play into the favor, into the advantage of Chicago. But who do you have taking this map? Which style do you prefer?
I prefer more of the Philly type, where they're going to be more running around you and everything, versus Chicago is like, brilliant, please. Oh, never mind. They're going to Junkrat. Blue Jay was insane with Junkrat when we saw it on Flashpoint. And yeah, there was the Lucio Fab. I like the Ramatra pick a lot for this push map. He's always really good. Got that long sight lines and can make it up close. It'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, as both doors are opening up, Foliage finally picks a hero. We have a Hanzo, so we have this kind of pokier style coming out on the side of Philly with the Ramatra, with the Ramatra and the Hanzo, and on the side of Chicago, they are opting in for the all-out brawl in the style that they like to play, which is put Vanguard on Zarya and let him get fully charged.
Absolutely.
Melting things down. Brilliant. Wheels mode out early. Both bubbles out from the side of Vanguard. There doesn't look like he's able to get much energy off of that. Andrew ripping the Nemesis form almost immediately. Vanguard a little bit higher charge throughout all of that. The slow field out manages to catch off the tank, but Frost is the first pick on the side of Philly, as that'll be Chicago. Chicago taking the first half of the match. As about a minute has gone by. About a minute has gone by. So not the, you know, especially with the removed Glass Edition, not as long of a stagger fight for first cap and stuff. But Dire falling and Laggy unfortunately does throw the lamp down, but unfortunately with the Exo Boots, not able to get into his lamp fast enough to save himself, and Laggy will stagger himself even more. This hurts if you are on Philly. Andrew popping the Nemesis form needs to care, but Foliage, early Dragon Strike coming through the bot, and Frost and Foliage turning around, picking off two on the side of Chicago. It was just brilliant on the bot, but Dire boops into next week, and Philly back in control.
Very good turnaround fight for Philly, as the ults for both teams are roughly close. I mean, we did see Hanzo just pop an ult, but he'll get it back pretty quick.
He'll get it back fairly quickly, but especially with Foliage. Foliage on the Hanzo, there is a threat of a one-shot on the field.
Yep.
You know, we saw it on the side earlier. We saw it in Gibraltar with the Widowmakers and eventually the Hanzos. Frost managed to pop the Deadeye, unfortunately gets beamed down almost immediately through the Dark Wall window. Laggy falls to the hands of Brilliant, but Foliage turns around to find Dark Wall. Vanguard turns around, finds Andrew for his troubles, and it is, again, 20 meters to 50 meters approximately in favor of Chicago. Frost off into Cassidy onto the Pharah pick. Interesting. Storm Arrow's out, manages to pick off Brilliant. That's the bashing down, and Chicago need to back up. Vanguard does turn around, trades Frost, but at this point, you just have to back up and give space. Philly opting to go away from the bot, and this time really forcing the fight. Blue Jay caught out, gets found out with the Sonic Arrow, and Andrew turns around and uses the Nemesis form to punch him to death. Vanguard slowed through the ramp E, bubble out for his troubles, try and get some energy, build up.
The dragon.
Yeah, dragon out, gets countered by the lamp, but grab and artillery strike down, manages to pick off Dire. Darklaw does fall to the hands of Foliage, but Brilliant turns around and ends his life nonetheless. Both teams fighting, anchoring as best they can. Andrew popping the Nemesis form unfortunately does fall in it, so does feed a little bit more ult charge over to the side of Chicago for their troubles. But expensive fights, but Philly does have an ult advantage coming in. Blue Jay popping the Riptire. What can he get done with it? Going up the side, forcing Philly back. Foliage turns around, sends a log right into Ghostface's skull. That's the beat off of the table. And Frost just raining rockets down from above. And pops the Annihilation for his trouble, trying to get anything done. Darklaw answers with the lamp. Brilliant falling extremely low in the process, but unfortunately for Philly, not able to find the confirmation. Beats out. Ghostface beats first, Dire beats second, so later be on the side of speed advantage in the favor of Philly. And bot advantage swinging their way as well. Both teams angling through. It is just Chicago in the tiny room. As I say that though, Vanguard manages to turn around, find Dire.
Oh.
Yeah. Sure. Philly able to turn around. Philly with Foliage on the bot, managing to turn around, force the bot all the way back so they can't get forward storms off of it, and they buy time. But again, beautiful map awareness from Philly. They're losing these fights. They might be losing these fights, but they're going to make it worth. They're going to make it expensive in the fight.
Yeah, you're gonna have. Chicago is having about 3 ultimates ready. Philly's only 1 left, and there's Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon and a double focus and being killed from the side of Frost. Set up by Andrew Slowfield as well, and the rest of Philly turning around, cleaning up. Critically, forward spawns have not been turned on yet. So Philly in control solidly of the bot as we go into 4 minutes left on the clock. About a 40-meter difference, still winnable if you were Philly, but it's gonna come down to map control and who can push through faster and smarter. Again, grab and grab Bastional. 4v4. Why not?
5. A
Yeah.
4-man kill with Bastion ult. Wow.
Nice set play on the side of Chicago. Brilliant does manage to stagger Frost that much later, which is unfortunate. Vanguard falls really low, falls about half, gets carried by his supports, and Chicago finally turn on forward spawns.
They finally turn it on, but it looks like it took 3 ultimates for that fight.
Yeah, expensive fight. Early lands on the side of Dark Claw, and Foliage in the process manages to fall to Brilliance and his grenade. Window out for Light Up. What can he get done? What can he and Philly get done with this window? Oh, Andrew first to fall to the hands of Blue Jay, and unfortunately nothing else can really happen through it. And Chicago just in control, pushing the bot, getting progress. This is starting to look much more difficult if you are Philly. Start pushing back, and start making a comeback as we get into our final 3 minutes of the clock.
We have 4 ults for Philly. It might be time to press Q.
Yeah, Frost duping the Junkrat. Brilliant does fall to the hands of the Lucio at the very end, but is everyone on the side of Chicago turning around, finding the opening picks that they need. Foliage sending a Dragon Strike to help zone Chicago off of the bot. Like to see it, and Laggy does turn around, manage to pick off Blue Jay. Another huge pick. Sticky's on to Dark Claw. Dark Claw getting focused down. Andrew just punches him to death. And Philly, final 2 minutes on the clock, finally managing to get control of this bot. But this is, but if you're Philly, you have to win upwards of about 3-4 fights in a row.
Yeah. It's gonna be rough.
In order to really push through and start making a dent into this map. At this point, this is Chicago's map to lose.
Absolutely.
Higher beating for 3. Ghostface answers back in turn, but Blue Jay's the first to fall, so not as strong of a beat.
Andrew's gonna fall. Or he doesn't.
No, he does not.
Oh,
Another set play on the side of Chicago. They're just gonna keep results. And sure, if you're Philly, you turned off forward spawns, but guess what? Chicago's now back in control of the bot, and they're gonna send it right back forward into your territory. Foliage off of the Hanzo over to the Reaper, trying to find any answer to break through Chicago's comp.
I mean, that Chicago comp so far has been doing really good. That Junkrat has gotten so much value out of it.
Yeah, as I say that though, Foliage does manage to turn around, pick off Dark Ball. That's the majority of the heals on the side of Chicago down. Blue Jays does fall to the hands of Frost, but Vanguard and Brilliant trading back to 2. 3v3. Frost copying the Bastion, and Frost and Foliage turning around, kicking off the rest of Chicago. There we go. That's a fight win that you need, but it's the final 30 seconds on the clock, and it is looking extremely dire if you are Philly.
All systems are optimal.
I mean, absolutely, but I mean, it still can happen. This is the playoffs a lot. We have seen crazy stuff happen so far.
Yeah, like crazier things can happen. Forward spawns turned off as we get into our final 15 seconds. But taking a team fight here and now, Chicago holding forward. Early window of Foliage in the backline in all the chaos. They just turn around, pick off Brilliant. Dark Claw falls to the hands of Dire, and Foliage picks off Blue Jay. There you go. That's the fight when you need. Vanguard resets the end. Reset on the energy as well as we get into OT. But this is getting real dire if you are Philly. You have to go over 100 meters.
You
do a plus strategy in order to win this map out.
It is going to be very rough, but at least you do have Death Blossom to start with, to help out. Ult-wise, Frost almost falls.
Yeah, managing to play their life, but Laggy missing the shots. Laggy unfortunately falls to the hands of Brilliant. Tire out. Oh, that's just unfortunate. That is unfortunate. And it is just all the cues on the side of Chicago. Philly, Andrew ripping the Annihilation, trying to get anything done, but it is all for naught, as Chicago will go up 3-2 in the series.
Now
Now you're Philly. Now you're going into this game 6 down 3-2. What map do you think they're gonna pull out next?
So, because we are going to map 6, we open up the map pool entirely. You can pick, any maps that any maps we haven't played yet, you are able to play. But it is, any mode you can go to. If you are Philly and you are answering back for Chicago, part of me wants to say, I know this is going to be a bit of a curveball, but go to Route 66. Go to Escort. Find something, find anything that could be, that could shut down Chicago's comp. Unless you can find an answer somehow through the Vanguard Zarya unless you can find an answer to the Vanguard Zarya and the Brawl, I feel like the answer is you need to lean into your dive comps.
I mean, I fully agree. I think the dive comp can work very well for Philly. It's all about. I mean, if you see that Junkrat, you just gotta get rid of it. I'm pretty sure it's Blue Jay that's been the Junkrat. He has had so much great value with that Junkrat whenever we've seen it. He's done some great work with it.
Yeah, Blue Jay Junkrat, the Vanguard Zarya, constantly being high energy.
Yep.
It feels like Philly has found answers here and there, but it's come at the back. It's come off of the backs of Frost and Foliage primarily, but all of the members on Philly turning around, digging deep, and finding an opening pick. Pulling something out kind of consistently. You could turn around, win a series like that, but it's gonna be a lot harder unless you have a way to really kind of shut things down.
Yeah, I mean, you know what honestly might be a little. This is a goofy pick. You know what might be a little bit of a fun ball pick for Philly to do. But so we obviously know Foley likes to really play Venture. Can we have them just cross play like Baby Bay just to ice someone off and just annihilate? That way they just start every fight with at least a kill or two. I mean, that'd be goofy.
I could see it working. I could see it working, but ever since Chicago has kind of flipped in, put Ghostface back into the lineup, and they're playing the Lucio, they're playing so much cleaner as a unit that, yeah, you can find the May pick, sure, but it's not enough. It almost feels like if you're Philly, you're leaning on Frost and Foliage to pull stuff out of thin air and say, here's your pick. It's unlosable at this point. And while you can do it for you can do it, playing that card too many times isn't always going to work.
Yeah, the only reason why I also suggested the whole May thing was I just think it'd be a fun little curveball. It would definitely throw someone for a loop for at least a little bit, because that would be such a off difference from what they've done so far in this series. And I mean, we've seen it throughout the season. People sometimes picking that random wacky character. Hey, it helps because they didn't see it coming. I mean, if you're Philly, all you want at this point is to get it to a game 7. And if you're Chicago, you really just want to close this out because you really don't want to fight a game 7.
Yeah. At this point, Philly, the pressure is on.
Absolutely.
You want to win a chip. You want to get it done. You have no more map picks. You pick map 6, and you must win your map pick.
Yep.
We saw it happen already when they picked Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
We also saw on a King's Row. I'm pretty sure they picked King's Row, right?
Chicago pick.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Chicago picked that one. If anything, I could, I could see maybe Philly opting for like Ilios as like
Ooh.
it's time to lean into the dive style. Oh, just kidding. We've got a pick. The pick is in. Philly is opting to go to Lijiang Tower.
Lijiang Tower. That is. I mean, Lijiang Tower could definitely work out for them, especially if we can win the this fight. I mean, it's really all about who's gonna control the center first. You could dominate a while if you can get that first capture and dominate the opponent's like hallway to there.
Yeah, as we go into control center as our first point on Lijiang. Philly, they won map 1. They won their control. They know when they can execute those set plays, they can get it done. We saw it on Nepal. Can they repeat that same performance on Lijiang and keep the series alive, or is this going to be a 4-2 Chicago win? Both teams are opening up control center, historically being the point that is very brawl-centric, brawl-focused. Vanguard onto the Zarya, Andrew back over to the Diva. This time Frost onto the Reaper and Foliage onto the Venture. I like what I'm seeing out of Philly. Go back to your bread and butter. Go back to what worked for you early on in the season, which was 5-man.
Yep. 5-man, and everyone just goes ooh on someone.
Yep. 3-2-1 collapse. Philly, as they're angling through, they have a positional advantage. It looks like they're going to be tapping first onto the point. That brilliant wheels out early. Ghostface trying to shuffle them around, and in. Foliage up out of the ground. Vanguard blowing a bubble for it. Lamp out early from Darkflaw, and Frost turns around, picks off the back piece. Answers back for another one on the brilliant. Andrew gets his mech traded in the process, but Philly cleaning up. There we go. That is what you like to see out of Philly. 3-2-1 collapse and pick your target.
Absolutely, it was a beautiful just clean up from Philly right there, winning that first major team fight. Even though you lost the mech, it was worth it because you got that team kill, and now you're up over 20%.
Yeah, opening 20%. Andrew back into mech critically before Bastion can mow him down. Moving away, Frost using Wraith away. Early lamp out again from Darkclaw, trying to find anything. Foliage coming up out of the ground, but unfortunately he's traded back. Falls to Ghostface. Frost turns around, picks off Blue Jay. 4v4 on the point as we brawl through. Laggy trying his best to keep Andrew alive. Moira Orb out, but Brilliant wheels down around. Frost in the backline manages to turn around, picking off Darkclaw before Vanguard turns him down. It's again, 4v4, Andrew broken out of mech. 4 versus 3.5 essentially. Full lessons out from Laggy Puppy. Foliage turns around, picks off Brilliant. There you go. Philly still in control at this point. Laggy poses down Ghostface in the process, and it is all Philly coming up in the kill feed. Vanguard falling really low, uses the bubble to help protect themselves, get out. But Philly, now that they've reset, now that they've held onto the point, and we are angling into one fight territory, opting to push forward with the tempo. Grab out for 2, managing to pick off 4, but Frost commits to Death Blossom, doesn't manage to find anything, and Chicago 86% managed to find at least the point, 86% on the board.
I mean, yeah, if you're Philly, you gotta be happy with that first capture. To almost get it to 90% on your first hold, really great job. Gives you a lot of time.
Yeah. Early beat out. Foliage manages to use Tectonic Shock to pick off Darkclaw's lamp. Frost turns around for the kill, but Blue Jay manages to get 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. Foliage turns around, picks off the junk in the very end, punishing the advantage. But Andrew pays for his hubris by getting broken out of mech. It is a baby Tita on the point. What can they get done? Frost turns around, burns down Brilliant. That is the Bastion down. No configuration. Ultimate onto the field. And
there's that Doom.
There's that Doom. It feels like it's a last touch effort from Vanguard trying to get it. Really turning around, using the Bastion ult early, trying to get some picks off, and Chicago angling into the point, but it's just a stagger fest as Philly get it to 99% hang count. Andrew coming up over the side, but Ghostface manages to send Foliage back to the Shadow Realm, back to the respawn room. Andrew retreating as best as he can. Brilliant does manage to pick off Laggy in the end, so that's Moira heals gone. So it's just Lucio heals for now. And Chicago holding up close into the choke.
I mean, that Doomfist has done some work whenever he's out. It's gonna be really up to see what they do about that Doomfist.
Yeah, Vanguard punching in, slamming out. You like to see it if you're a Doom player. Punch in, slam out. Don't feed. As I say that though, Blue Jay sends a conk mine into Foliage, and Death Blossom out, managing to pick off Brilliant in the very end. Andrew turning around, making things dirty as well, getting Ghostface. Blue Jay and Vanguard turn around, pick off 2 as well, but that Doom is super low. Focus Fire needs to be onto the Doomfist, and they do manage to get it at the very end. Philly getting back into control. Blue Jay up over the top, managing to get it right into OT, buying enough time for Ghostface and Brilliant to come back in. But it is 2v2. Ghostface falling really low. Foliage ripping the Tectonic Shock, managing to pick off the last 2 members. It's just Doom over in the backline. And it is Philly taking control center 100 to 99%.
That first point, that first capture hold was really important for Philly as it slowly started to where Chicago was starting to win those fights a little more consistently, but due to just Philly having such a massive lead at that start and just help them edge it out to get that first point win in this.
Yeah, as we go over to Lijiang Garden, and this is again Philly taking the first control. This is their map to lose now, but this is a must-win for Philly. As both teams are opening up. No Pharahs on either side, but we are going out all out brawls. The Lijiang special. Brilliant with the sim, TPing over to point, and Chicago using the speed and the TP to get the first cap to the point. Dyer gets walled off immediately and falls to the hands of Darkclaw. But Laggy turns around, picks off Ghostface. That's Lucio. Well, Lucio's down. Andrew manages to run down Darkclaw. So no supports on the side of Chicago. But there is a sim, there's a Mei, and it is burning through Andrew's neck. Brilliant does fall in the end. Laggy and Dyer back first, managing to turn around and get the first cap, and Philly will take first cap on Lijiang Garden.
Very great push there overall from Philly, winning out that team fight and just overall a good starting fight as Andrew will get his mech back.
Yeah, Andrew gets his mech back. All of Chicago are opting to rotate through White and eating the damage orb, but TP in doesn't manage to distract anyone. Doesn't manage to get anyone through it as both teams are pushing through, trying to find an opening pick. Maywall out, managing to isolate Foliage, and Foliage goes off the map. It's now a 4v5 on this point. What can Philly have been down in these runs before? Vanguard manages to run down Dyer, but Frost turns around, finds Ghostface in the process. But all of the members of Philly are falling. It is just Andrew left on the point. What more can he do except stagger out as best as he can? Buys enough time for Foliage to get in, play his life, comes up out of the ground, trying to find more time. And as I say that, enough time for Frost to get in, and Dyer comes back as well. Foliage does manage to turn around, but through all the chaos, Frost turns around to Blue Jay, and this is just Philly holding the point. Chicago still have not flipped this yet.
Dude, Philly is doing an amazing job just holding on, even if there's one guy left, just holding on with everything they got to keep that percentage ticking up.
And Foliage again back into the ground on the Venture, trying to stall for as much time as he can. Playing through valiantly, but finally, Foliage falls, Frost falls, and it's who's left on the point this time? It's Laggy Puppy.
And
Who's
now
next
it's
to touch? It's Andrew.
Andrew.
It's Andrew next to touch. Gets broken out of that. Can we get to 90? We are in the 90s.
What an insane just team effort from Philly. They were gonna get capped at like 40. They held on with everything they got to 93. That's amazing.
you can tell from the way that they're playing that that the boys on Philly are locked in. They understand what this map means. They have to win. Vanguard runs Foliage off the side of the map. Both Moira's trading coalescence is out, hosing everyone down. But Foliage off the map means that Philly can't aggress with the coalescence.
I mean, you're about to have B and bomb. Yeah, you're about to be able to, if you're Philly, it's about to be a Q pressing time. You're about to have 4 ultimates ready.
Yeah, it's about to be a huge Q fest as Philly rotates through White Room. Foliage isolated off with the Mei, using the burrow to save themselves and distract, take attention away. But if you are Andrew, you have to be. Oh, yeah, as Q Fest is initiated, but Blue Jay managing to pick off Frost.
Oh,
through the
there's bomb!
Andrew's bomb manages to pick 2!
Oh, double!
Yeah. And Vanguard not able to find anything else with the bomb, but Foliage turning around, picking off Blue Jay as Dire falls. It's just staggering out. It's laggy and Foliage. Foliage managed to pick off Darklaw before Vanguard managed to pick off Laggy Puppy, but that's enough time for the D.Va to get back into the point. Vanguard broken out of mech, and it's Frost turning around, picking off Brilliant. It's just a Lucio left. Ghostface staggers themselves just that much more, and it is Philly back in control. 95% and counting. Someone from Chicago has to touch. Can anyone do it? Yes, they can. Darklaw using the Fate to get in aggressively to make sure they've got time for the touch. Blue Jay using the May wall to get up over the point, trying to get in for the next touch, but it is all Philly coming up into kill. Sure, Foliage does manage to take themselves off the map. Who cares about that? We have a Reaper Death Blossom going out.
Doesn't get anyone.
Doesn't get anyone, but forces the members of Chicago away, and it's just all Philly in the kill feed.
It's just Philly. JD tried to jump in, couldn't get it. Now it's Tracer jumping in.
Yeah, it's just the Tracer. Tracer recalls out. Blue Jay managed to find it, and then get off. And don't touch his time.
We will, before this week happened, I just want you to know, a Game 7 never happened in this league. Now we have both of the leagues going to Game 7s for the first time. Both are going to Game 7. They both have went the distance.
If you are, the script writers could not have written a better match. Philly locked in. They understand what it means to go this far. They are not about to have this fall through their hands. But
both teams have champions on their rosters. They are ready to going to Game 7. Now it is Chicago's choice for Game 7, which is very nerve-wracking because, yeah, we've seen when they pick their maps, they are very good at it. They've been dominant.
I'll say this, having played in the Emerald Grand Finals on Monday. Game 7, we knew going into it that the winner of Game 5 got to dictate the tempo, got to control the outcome when we go for Game 7. It was either we win it on map 6, or if we have to go to map 7, that map is in our control. Chicago backs up against the wall. Control's off the table. But you have Hybrid, you have Flashpoint, you have Push, you have Escort. And you have maps that are in that pool that favor what you like to run, what your comfort picks are. The Vanguard Sigma, the Brilliant and Blue Jay single shot hit scan, trying to find anything.
It's really gonna be how will Philly adapt to this? Because I know we said earlier that Circuit Royale might be really interesting, but also I have seen Philly work Circuit Royale really well in their last playoff series. They did fantastic. I'm not sure what Chicago will pick, but this is it. This is the whole season it's called for Ruby is to right here, right now, Game 7. Everything is on the line. This is it. We're gonna have to see for some of these people, it'll be their first chip. Others, it could be their second. We'll have to see.
Chicago, in control. of their destiny. You know, you have Circuit Royale is sitting right there on the table. If you wanted to try and get a kind of like, if you wanted to get a little, if you wanted to get a little fun, a little cutesy, you have Route 66, also very favorable to the Sigma comp and to the Sigma setup. A map that they mentioned in the pre-show that we haven't really seen at all this season, Midtown. They have Midtown, which they could pick out and really, again, play to the strengths of the Vanguard Sigma, play to your DPS players preferring those long sight lines and trying to get stuff done. You have the control. You have to force Philly into being uncomfortable.
I mean, yeah, I fully agree. The biggest thing here is that you could go Midtown, you could go Circuit. It's just I'm not sure if it. We'll have to see if that's what they choose. I feel like if they go Circuit, it would be a lot more tough than they want to first think. Just because we have seen them decimate Sigmas in that map, as we have seen Andrew and the rest of Philly just flip the map. If you check the last playoff series, you'll see it. They just flipped the map on the enemy team non-stop. It was just crazy.
Yeah. Okay, Chicago. For their final map, they have called for Eichenwalde.
They have called for Eichenwalde?
Yes, they have called for Eichenwalde. No more, all on the line for honor and glory and for bragging rights.
Well, I guess this is kind of the glory map, as, there's the Reinhardt short about this whole map and everything, gotta die with glory, and this is it, Game 7. This is where there will be a new edition of Champions in the next 10 to 15 minutes. History will be written.
It will get decided right here, right now.
Unless for some reason we go with a draw. No, we'll go into a game 8, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
I will say this, Biscuit. It is possible to draw.
It is possible.
It is possible. If I cast or cursed it into existence, y'all are gonna have to deal with me. Oops All Vibes team will know we can draw on this map. We did draw on this map. It was very fun. Shout out
It
Oops All
was very
Vibes.
fun. Gotta love it.
As both teams are angling up. Philly, standard, tried and true, Andrew Diva, Laggy and Dire, Lucio Moira, Frost and Foliage, Cassidy Venture, respectively. For the side of Chicago, they're gonna go back to this setup of blow up the tank, blow up Andrew, force something through. If Philly are smart, if Philly are on top of their rotations, they can punish the slow rotations of Chicago very effectively. We saw it happen on map 1 when they weren't playing the Lucio. Let's hope it doesn't come and bite Chicago in the tank.
I mean, absolutely, yes. They're currently just kind of filling each other out, it feels like, as Andrews get low.
Andrews get really low, gets trapped in the Diva trap, gets trapped in the jump trap, and then unfortunately is broken out of mech thanks to the Blue Jay jump trap. Love to see it. Early defensive Bionate out, but Blue Jay's falling really low, getting cared for by his supports as both teams are poking, prodding through. Another bubble out from Vanguard, trying to maintain high energy and zap people down. Another defensive Bionate out from Darklaw, this time helps save Brilliant and keeps them alive. And Chicago have anchored through. One tick already onto the point. and counting. Andrew again broken out of mech, but gets at least trades back for Brilliant. But as I say that, Frost with the Jedi manages to turn around, pick up Dark Club, rolls, takes off Ghostface, and it is just Zarya left. And
She's low.
She's low.
What
She's gonna
a
get her.
play.
Yeah, huge clutch up from the side of Philly. These boys are locked in, ready to go. But
That was an amazing play from Frost, just clutching up, getting the supports to win that fight.
yeah, huge shout out to that cat. Huge shout out to the Cassie player on the side of Philly. Foliage falling really low, managing to get into the ground and back up to Laggy for Laggy to get some more coalescence charge. Andrew posturing through, trying. Yes, Chicago are going through. Dyer dropping the beat early for 4, but Graviton Surge out onto the wall.
The coal!
Yeah, Andrew can't eat it, but Dyer falls to Laggy Puppies with the coalescence, helping keep everyone alive, hosing everyone down, keeping everyone stable on the side of Philly. Chicago disengaged from the coalescence, and Vanguard turns around, picks off Foliage. Faction Ultimate out for the side of Chicago, and Frost does pick Ghostface, but Brilliant, Blue Jay, and Vanguard are all cleaning up. This is Chicago coming all up in the kill feed. Frost fighting for their life, trying to make it out. It looks like they will make it out and not stagger.
Hopefully.
But that is hopefully. Oh yeah, they're out. Okay. But that is point A going in favor of Chicago as we are starting the assault on the castle.
I mean, good first point hold though. Good little defense. You burn a good amount of time off of it. Now we're just looking at 3.5 minutes as they're opening the gate. Ooh, Riptire.
Riptire out. What can Blue Jay get done with it? Foliage in and around. Forces the. Yeah, Frost does manage to destroy the tire, but falls in the hands of Brilliant. Also, critically, Ghostface does lose his lamp through that as well. So Vanguard using the bubble, using the Zarya bubbles, manages to zone out Ghostface in the bottom of the castle, but Vanguard up and over, does not pay for it with their life. Unfortunately, as I say that though, Lightning Puppy falls and so does Foliage. This is Chicago continuing the push onto the cart.
Big, another anti-nade already. Oh, we see the swap to Reaper.
That Reaper guy do be coming out on the side of Philly, trying to find something, anything. Ghostface ripping the window out early. Frost gets slept out of Deadeye, but Xenobomb forces out the lamp. Vanguard does get off of the edge by Dyer. And Dyer for another one! This is big. He falls. Dyer showing the potency of Lucio on the bridge. Lessons we learned in 2016 with Toby on Lunatic High. Real ones know the shout out. As we say that though, 3 minutes, 45 seconds and counting down, going into point C. And Brilliant just hosing people down. Takes the A10 grenade onto Dyer, but Laggy manages to heal him up. Another jump trap out. Gets broken, and a big beat from Dyer manages to catch all 5 members and nullify Brilliant's ultimate. Nano out onto Vanguard. What can he get done? Lamp out to protect the Bastion as well, but Vanguard manages to turn around, burn down Frost. Blue Jay turns around, sends a Conk-Nade into Dyer, and it's Laggy popping the coalescence, trying to help stabilize things out on Philly. And as I say that, Andrew and Foliage coming up in the clutch. There we go. That's there's the stabilization you need. Sure, Foliage does fall to the hands of Vanguard. But you finally stabilize and force Chicago back a little bit.
At least a little bit, and you have both DPS ults, so that's pretty huge.
Yeah, both DPS ults coming up. Vanguard, high charge Zarya, about to have a Graviton Surge as well. Can combine it in with Blue Jay's Riptire or Ghostface Window if they want to. Ghostface Window out, managing to the wheels mode through it. And Foliage, what are you doing?
A huge play! Triple Death Blossom, yet with another kill. What an amazing heroic play.
How's it going? Hey there.
Foliage, they have families.
He
Can't do that.
He wants his ring.
That is disgusting. Get that off my screen.
He wants his ring.
As I say, As I say that though, Chicago opening up. Both bubbles out from Vanguard. He's high charge, trying to hose down Foliage. Foliage escaping with his life. Laggy Puppy sending a skill orb over, but Blue Jay manages to send some nades into Foliage's skull. And falls. Andrew ripping the Annihilation, but falls critically. Only thing forced out was Ghostface Slam. And it's just Laggy Puppy on the cart. What more can he do? He can't do much. But 90 seconds left. Foliage TPing in. Gets slept almost immediately. And Andrew, one to the Doomfist, trying to touch, isn't able to survive long enough, but does manage to buy time for Dire to come in. Dire and Laggy, it's just a Dire, Laggy, Frost, everyone on the side of Philly trying, but it'll be Chicago completing the map with 1 minute and 12 seconds on the clock.
Still, that's a really good defensive hold. To make it only 1 minute 12, you can definitely live with that if you're Philly. That is a good, solid defense. That's a lot better than what we saw when we were on Kings and they had like 4 minutes or something at the end.
Yeah, 100%. You're happy for Chicago that you finished the map, and if you're Philly, you're happy that considering going into point C, they had 3 minutes and 45 seconds and a huge grab window wheels mode combination. The fact that Foliage turned around and just found 4 out of thin air, like that, why not? You know?
Maybe he needs to stay as Reaper.
Yeah,
and it looks like he is.
Yeah, thank you, Foliage, because that map gets completed with more time on the clock, and Foliage was not able to turn around and find the picks that he was able to find. As we say that though, Philly, same comp. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Actually, same comp both sides. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I say that though, Frost over to the Echo in spawn, you know, you like to see it. You could force down. Oh, never mind. Never mind. We're gonna have a change up. It's gonna be Foliage Cassidy, Frost Reaper.
Ooh, that's interesting. But we'll have to see how that works out.
I'm not there in the comms with them. Can't really question it, but if it gets done, it gets done. Reaper TPing into the back line, managing to knock both DPS low, forcing Chicago to back up around the point. Frost turns around, manages to pick up Blue Jay first with the help of Andrew, gets caught in the junk trap, and unfortunately will pay for it with his mech. But Dire turning around, forcing the lamp, forcing the boot to end Ghostface's life, and Philly turning around there, capping onto this point. Vanguard falling really low, prioritizing their life and their energy as a Zarya and making it out. And Philly, 5 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock. They want this. They want to storm the castle.
That was an excellent capture right there for them. That was a really great team fight win. Even though Andrew is still team-backed, I mean, they are pushing right now.
They're pushing. They're able to get through the first choke, and the castle doors start opening up. Oh, Andrew back into mech in the meantime. And Chicago, notably, they're not holding high. It's just their support holding high. Reaper's gonna TP up, immediately gets slept, has to fade out almost immediately, but it does force out the limp. And quick grab, quick damage through. But Andrew and Frost turning around, finding some picks, even though Philly are losing this fight.
Even though they have such a time advantage, and they also have 4 ultimates on the board.
Yes.
We're about to see a Q fest of the century for both teams.
Yeah, but both teams are about to have 4 ultimates. Early land from Ghostface, has to use it to save themselves. Blue Jay ripping the tire. Dire dropping the beat for 4. Laggy turns around, manages to kill the tire before it can do any damage. You'd like to see it on the side of Philly. But both teams angling, posturing through. Lamp down, but Andrew managing to turn around, rip for 2, and Death lost him out. Doesn't manage to find anyone, and Frost does pay for it with their life, but the rest of Philly are cleaning up.
Really great trade. You're really happy with that trade if you're Philly. Losing 1 DPS to just wipe their team, you'll take it every single day.
100%. Chicago coming through, brilliant, ripping the Bastion ultimate, dropping it on the cart, trying to buy some space. Bionade out, manages to land on Andrew. Deadeye out, manages to pick off, Deadeye doesn't manage to find anyone, but Andrew does get Ghostface lamp out. Ghostface falling extremely low. Andrew trying to run him down, and Dyer will find the final blow. Pays for it with his life, but everyone else on the side of Philly is turning up in clutch. As I say that though, it is Vanguard on this cart, and this D.Va will not die. Finally gets broken out of the mech, and Vanguard just stalling for as much time as he can. But that'll be Philly.
Wow.
Tapping the over 4.5 minutes going into C.
Philly looks like they are starving for this. They want it to go to overtime.
They are locked in. They are ready to go. They are locked in. They are ready to go. Brilliant. Over onto the Symmetra, trying to use the beam in order to break Andrew down a little bit more. Unfortunately, the turrets are not managing to find anything. A turret lamp out from Ghostface. That's no longer on the table, and Andrew just caught in the trap, getting beamed down and broken out of mech. Falls, but everyone else on Philly. Frost, Blue Jay manages to turn around, pick off Frost. That's the Death Blossom off the table as well. And Philly just have to reset. Take your time, take your ultimates, and make it out. Try not to stagger as best as you can. As I say that though, Laggy and Foliage are going to be caught on a later wave respawn. Luckily,
There's that Ramatra.
There's the Ram. Andrew says no more D.Va. We're going to third. We're going into an all-out brawl. Let me go to my other tank that I like to play, and that's the Ramatra. Better into brawling. Both DPS ults on the side of Philly are up, but Vanguard, Blue Jay, and Ghostface all have ultimates of their own.
It is time for the Qs to happen. Both teams have a lot of Qs stored up. And there's the B.
Aggressive beat. Frost, the Death Blossom is slept, but does manage to pick off Brilliant before the Sleep Dart comes through. And it's just a Nano D.Va onto the cart.
There's a bomb!
Popping the bomb. Foliage falls to it.
But the only one to fall, that's a good trade.
Yeah. Ghostface off of the Baptiste over to the Kiriko, trying, get out of spawn faster. Anything. Laggy does manage to get beamed down by the Symmetra, and it is just Andrew left, last to fall. 2.5 minutes left on the clock for Philly to complete this push.
They need to complete this push, get us to overtime. I mean, for Chicago, this is looking really rough. You have no ultimates for a while, versus for Philly, you have two pretty good ultimates. I mean, that High Noon has done some work in this series.
Yeah, you're looking to Dark Claw to sleep Foliage's High Noon so that he doesn't get any value off of it. But Laggy Puppy also does have a Coalescence as well. Can rips it, trying to encourage Philly to come down. Philly popping the Deadeye as well. Popping the Deadeye as well, trying to get something done. Doesn't manage to find anything, but as I say that, Brilliant manages to turn around, pick off 3. Frost turns around, picks off Blue Jay, but Dark Claw and Brilliant finishing off Philly. That's Team Kill Horn going off again. 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock, and Philly need to finish the map.
They need to finish. They are about to have Annihilation. Blue Jay's gonna have that dangerous Riptire. He's done fantastic with it all series so far.
Yeah. Blue Jay with the Riptire. Vanguard about to have a D.Va Bomb as well. So a 3-second life on the board if he needs it. What can Philly do? Andrew again steps into the trap. This time isn't, this time.
Oh, there's that tire.
Tire out. Foliage manages to pick it off, but Andrew gets naded in the process. Unfortunately, Brilliant is able to hose him down. Doesn't matter if the Ram is sitting there holding his arms up and blocking. Antibionade will shut off all the healing. And Philly
Kiriko is so huge. Kiriko would have just cleared it right there.
Yeah, Philly quickly opting to reset as well, but Chicago ult pendulum is swinging in their favor with a lot of ults. They just gave up Blue Jay's tire for that fight. With final 30 seconds on the clock, Philly need to find something, anything to get this map finished.
Dude, they're about to have Death Blossom. There's Kitsune Rush.
Yeah, Kitsune Rush. Diva falls extremely low. Vanguard does get Nano in order, but that boss him in the backline. Manages to pick off Ghostface. Foliage turning around, picking up Brilliant as well before Frost falls. It's all chaos in the kill.
Vanguard. The bomb is out.
Bomb's out. Oh,
Oh,
manages to pick off Foliage in the process, and it's all coming up. Suzu out from Ghostface. Yeah, Suzu out. It's just both supports. Laggy has to fade away. Someone has to touch the cart. Keep it contested. Laggy's there for now. Andrew in with the Wrecking Ball. Turning around, giving some adaptive health over, but Vanguard manages to use micro missiles and burn down Laggy Puppy. Andrew next to fall at the hands of Brilliant, and it's all coming up Chicago with the kill feed. Can anyone stop it? No, it is Chicago taking Game 7. Oh.
For Game 7, that, for the side of Philly, has to be rough. That's how it ends. But I mean, hey, you went to Game 7. You pushed it almost all the way to the limit, so in overtime, you got to be happy with that outcome at least. You went to Game 7. You pushed it the distance.
If you're Philly, you played the series of your life.
Yep.
And there is nothing that can take away from it. It was one hell of a series. Props to Chicago, and shout out to all those players. Congratulations to Chicago Syndicate for winning the United Rogue Overwatch Ruby Grand Finals for Season 5.
Yeah, I mean, both finals went to Game 7, and both finals went to the wire. They were both great. Awesome job for the teams that made it to the finals, and congrats to our Ruby and Emerald champions. And yeah.
That was an insane series indeed. That's been it for us, Biscuit. It's been a pleasure casting with you this series.
Yep, same to you.
Yeah, and I believe in Prod. Let me know if I'm wrong, but are we throwing it back to the desk for a post show? No?
Okay.
All right. Well, that's been it for us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure casting for y'all. Well, Chicago Syndicate win the Ruby Grand Finals 4-3 against the Philadelphia Plague. My name has been Zach, joined on the mic with Biscuit. Take it easy and have a good night, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Lights are lit and there's sweat on your embrace. Whenever